Here we go.
It's 2025, baby, the year of the Switch 2. How we feeling? How we feeling, gamers? Feeling good?
Yeah, we need more Switches out there. We have only had, a couple of them, so like this Switch and the Switch Lite, so, need a Switch too.
Yeah.
Oh, and they had like the other models. Remember that? Like everyone was going crazy over those models that had a little bit better battery life. I still don't have one of those, but
No, I never did. I was always like, I'll get the half step when it comes out. Never did.
yeah, I know.
Ever.
I always thought about getting a Switch Lite at least, but I never
I
got
did get a
around
Switch
to
Lite.
it.
I did get a Switch
You did
Lite,
okay.
but yeah, and I like the form factor. Like it was really
Yeah.
light in the hand. I really liked that about it. Um, but I got that in lieu of getting a regular Switch again because it was just cheaper. It was like what, 200
Mm,
bucks. I got the yellow one, which I really liked. But I really missed having the TV function on it.
mm-hmm.
Um, and it's, you can mod it and do that, but why would you? So
Yeah.
I sold that again to my brother-in-law, and I got I forget why I even switched out my original in the first place. I think I was having issues with it.
Hmm.
But I got the Animal Crossing like limited edition one
Oh,
that was
sure.
sold out everywhere. And I was like, I got to get this.
Yeah.
So, and
Solid.
I've had that for what, 4 or 5 years now. So, yeah, it is solid. It's really nice looking. I wanted that Zelda one that came out recently with
Mm-hmm.
Tears of the Kingdom, but I couldn't in good conscience buy a fourth
Yeah,
Switch.
you don't
Like it
need
just
another Switch this late into the game. I mean, by then we were still looking like forward to Switch 2, right? Like everyone was like, "Yeah, Switch 2 is going
right.
to come out anytime now." And yet here we are,
Yeah.
still no news on Switch 2. All they said is that they're going to announce
Well,
it this financial quarter, so
I mean, that's not true. There is news, and we will get into it because pretty much the entire Switch leaked like
uh,
part piecemeal.
yeah.
And we'll actually get into that because there's some interesting stuff. I would be shocked if it did not get announced in the next couple weeks, if not a
Yeah.
month. I mean, it is just it is falling apart for them. They need to get on top of it.
Yeah.
They're not, the horse is not bucking for them. They're like, we're going to take our time for some reason, but whatever. Anyway,
They want to
the
beat
stick
those
drift.
PlayStation 2 sales.
They do. They really do, honestly. And I think the reason they haven't announced it yet is because of the Christmas rush. They didn't want people to return their consoles.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if that was not the reason. But anyway, 2025, new year, new me, baby.
Yeah. Stick drift.
What you got a resolution for this year? Or is it just drink more water? That's usually mine because that's easy and that's attainable.
Drink more water. I like that. No, that's a pretty good one. Yeah, I've already been working on that. So I got
That's
unsweet
good.
tea here. So the good stuff.
I
But
see.
um,
Hmm.
pretty much the same thing. But yeah, no, I New Year probably just do more hobbies that I like to do. So just spend more time doing productive hobbies, less time just playing the you know uh, mindless slop sort of games or doom scrolling or that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I've had my fair share of doom scrolling. I have, but I've really cut down on it.
Yeah.
And the easiest way to do this is to charge your phone, either in your room or
Ooh.
just on a wall outlet, because
Yeah.
then it gets it out of your hands.
Yeah.
It's charging, right? But you don't feel the need to pick it up because you're like, oh, my phone's over there. I don't want to get it. The
Yeah.
laziness kind of gets into it. You're like, I don't want to get up and get this now. So that's actually been good for me. My couch has a charger in it. I know, so space age and new. It's got like a USB port on the inside of the chair,
Yeah.
which works pretty well, aside from breaking a couple chargers from sitting down. That's happened before. But I'll put my phone up there and I'll just forget about it. And usually I can watch my whole thing. My wife is so bad about doom scrolling though. I'm like, you've been sitting here for like an hour. Pay attention to your family. So she's a good mom. It's not that she gets sucked into Instagram or whatever she looks at. But
It's
anyway,
pretty easy
yeah,
to do.
that's
They're designed
it's
for that.
very easy to
Yeah.
do. Yeah, they are. It's scientifically proven. My crutch for a while was TikTok, and I've started to get off of that a little bit. So I've deleted Facebook from my phone. I only have Facebook on like my computer, and
Mhm.
that's just to post what we have basically. But I don't even check it otherwise. So yeah, I am. If I sound a little grungy, it's because I got sick over New Year's. It sucked.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't know if I had COVID or not. It's hard to tell. I lost my taste, but my nose
Mm.
was also busted. So if I sound a little yunky, whatever you want to call it, make a word up for it. It's because of that. So I'm still getting over that. And I also shoveled for 6 hours on Monday because we got a foot and a half of snow here
Holy
in
crap!
in Kansas.
Holy
Yeah.
crap!
So that was fun, and I about died doing that. Um, that was not fun at all. The only reason I did that is because I thought I was thinking ahead, and I was like, "Oh, I'll park the car in the garage. The car's in the garage because this winter storm is coming, and we're supposed to get like 6 to 8 inches."
Uh huh.
It kept raising and raising until it was like, "Oh, you had 14 to 16," and I'm like, "This is easily 18. It's over my knee."
Yeah.
I'm literally pretty much wading through hip deep snow, which is insane. I've never seen this much snow in my
Oh wow.
life. I know. It was serious, dude. We were stuck at home on Monday. Like we couldn't go anywhere. Like work canceled. My wife was smart. She like was on it. She got like salt for the road and for our drive and stocked us up on groceries. I'm like, dang, I should have been more prepared because without her we would have been in kind of a pickle. But um yeah, it was like full on blizzard conditions. It was nuts. And it's been like negative temperatures and it's been a gnarly beginning of the year, I'll put it that way. Um, but our power
Ringing
never
in the
went
new
out, so
year.
that's good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
my wife was like, "I'm worried about my power going out." I'm like, "Honey, I'm never going away." She's like, "That's not what I mean."
You can't pull that one on her.
I
Get
had
out of
to,
here. Show
it's like
over.
it's like Charles Barkley's "Shut Up and Jam." It's just a layup, It's just a
Yeah,
layup.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, that's kind of been the beginning of the year for me. Is just a bunch of winter weather and being sick and shoveling while being sick also sucks because I got sick again, I think, and we'll get out of it eventually. It'll happen. But how's your beginning of the year? Do you have a good holiday?
yeah, yeah. It's been good. So yep,
Yeah,
seen a lot of family. So that's always nice. Seen a lot of
same.
friends. So it's good
Oh, I
too.
forgot
So
to tell you. Wait, did I tell you this? We saw a house burn down on Christmas Eve during dinner.
ugh,
Like it
it's
was right
horrible.
across the street too. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my brother, of course, he's got a camera. He took a ton of pictures of it, so it is well documented. Um, and yeah, this family, like my parents were, so they bought a new house and they were looking for a new place to stay. So they had looked on the street already, and they looked at that house actually
Oh
that ended up
wow.
burning down. And I forget the issue they had with it. I think it had something to do with like a room layout or something, but they decided to not move on it when it was in their price range. Ended up being a good deal, right?
Wow.
Because they love their fireplace, and what happened is their chimney caught on fire.
Mm.
So pretty crappy. It sounds like they're not scrapping it; they're able to fix it, but it was a tough deal. Like it was tough to watch. People were just like standing like on Christmas Eve, and it was just a mess. So
Yeah.
that's a memorable one. We won't forget that anytime soon.
Wow.
So I
No,
didn't know if I remembered telling you
no, you
that.
didn't tell
So
me that. That's crazy.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
horrible.
it's been a couple weeks now. I know it's the worst thing that could have ever happened to somebody, especially on a holiday. Um, but yeah, we besides holiday stuff, we've been playing some video games, and you've been playing the only one that matters this year to me, I think. Besides Balatro, you haven't played Balatro, but that's fine.
No.
That's fine. It's okay. You're getting to the one that I really want to talk about. We are bursting at the seams. You have finally delved into the masterpiece that is Metaphor Fantasio. Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. I want to hear it.
Yeah, I've put a good few hours into the game, about 24 hours into it. So
Ooh, full day. Love it. Love it.
yeah, so yeah, I'm
Yeah,
about
just give me your broad thoughts. Broad thoughts. Like, what do you think about it? Characters. Just tell me your standout thoughts.
yeah,
I'll
it's
listen.
great. It's really great. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still
Mm-hmm.
getting through it. I'm still forming opinions on it, but already like the narrative depth of it and like the cast of characters in it is just
Mm-hmm.
outstanding. Like I think it's better than anything Atlas has ever put out so far.
I tend to agree with you. I think just the party. You haven't even gotten to my favorite party member besides Heisme, who we will talk about for sure. It is
Yeah.
so good, dude. I am so happy
Yeah.
you feel that way. But
It's
yeah,
it,
continue.
it's just such a like deep narrative. Like I mean from the beginning like it's all about racial and class struggles. It's like the whole entire game. Like it's front and center.
Yeah,
Like this is what we want to discuss. This is what we want to talk about. This is the issue that this game wants to tackle, and they do a fantastic job of just showing every possible perspective of that, and like not painting people as like just this guy's the bad guy and this guy's the good guy. There's gray area in between.
absolutely. Yeah, that gray area is extremely important because I think when you have pardon me to say, if a woke game, people call these things woke because it has politics
Whoa.
in it. That's the buzzword. You run the risk of labeling a lot of things in your game, and they do a great job at not doing that. They show the nuance
Yeah,
and not just their
you have
words,
to.
their deeds. You have to, and
Yeah,
they don't paint their characters with a broad brush because everybody is a nuanced character, and like you said, just completely the party composition is just unmatched, I think, in
yeah,
any Atlas game. I think they outdid themselves. And I think, they have had some really good party members in their
mm-hmm.
games, especially with the Persona series, where there's a lot of good standouts there,
Yeah,
especially in 5 and 4. And I like some party members in 3 too. I'll talk about them at some point today. Um, but yeah, like when your game is so obviously about politics, like that is a scary
yeah,
road to go down. But they do it with such a deft hand. They are masterfully painting with like a very detailed brush, and they really they have a crystal clear vision for what they're trying to impart to you, you know.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, just that
They
specifically is so important. Yeah,
This game just feels like the team at Atlas. They were just like, okay, we've put out all these Persona games, and we've had good messages in here, but they've also done a lot of things in those Persona games for the mass appeal. Just like, yeah, we want to get people. So first dungeon we're gonna have girl in a bikini. That's gonna be our
totally
selling
fan
point.
service. Yeah, yeah,
And that's been an issue for me for a long time trying to sell people on Persona. It's like, well, yeah, it's a little bit more nuanced than that, though. Like, you got to get past, that, funk, and
totally.
then
Yeah,
there's the nuance underneath that. But Metaphor is just like, no, we don't even need that crap to sell our game. We're just gonna put out a bold, mature game without relying on, things like language or fan service or anything like that. It's a very stark contrast to something like a Drakengard 3,
sure.
which I played
Yes.
recently. Very, very, very stark contrast to something like
I was
that.
thinking of this too. Yeah,
Uh
this
huh.
comparison specifically. Yeah,
Isn't that a weird? Yeah, it's a really weird comparison because I know you've touched that game a little bit as well. I think
a little bit,
so.
a little bit. Yeah.
But
Hmm.
yeah, it's a very stark contrast. And it's I think that there's definitely a space for both games as well as for the Persona series, in the gaming sphere as a whole. But this game is kind of like a game that speaks to me. That's like, yeah, okay, I can get behind this. I can actually recommend this game as just something that isn't it won't turn people away. It's not the type of game that turns people away because of the things it's representing. It's
Yeah.
representing real issues and real things, and it's it's a it's we talk about games as art, but this game is more than that. I think it's just like a
Mhm.
game as like a as a message. Like
Yeah, it feels charged. Like it doesn't feel
yeah,
like they just made something. Everything feels intent.
yeah,
Like it has intent, I should say. And I think also, getting back to like what mass appeal would be, they don't feel like they need to cater to those interests or those that fan service appeal. They don't need to do that. And I think that's kind of what the director Katsuro Hoshino kind of groused about with Persona is doing the same things over and over and being set in a confined setting where you're a high schooler going to Japanese high school, right? He wanted to make a different game with the same tenets, same core principles that make those games so great, like the systems, the ideas behind the playing of a Persona game. He wanted to implement that in a new setting. Um, while kind of outdoing everything they've done so far. And so, in setting it up a little bit, um, this is a core team that worked on Persona 5. So that's something that you need to know for sure. Katsura Ashino took a majority of them, including Shigenori Sojima, who did the art for 3, 4, and 5, and then parts of the old Persona games. And he took him with him to this new venture, Studio Zero, which is doing different games under the Atlas umbrella, but keeping that kind of flavor that keeps Persona interesting, right? Um, they're just basically taking their core tenets of what they've learned and implementing them in new ways. And you look at a game like Persona 5, where it is just so like getting away from messages or theming or anything. The presentation of it is so bold and gonzo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how could they even? I don't know. How could they even improve on that? How could they change that up? Like when you see Persona 5 in action with its combat, its menus, its presentation, its style, its jazzy music, like how can they outdo that? And I think Metaphor does that and then some, but it does it in a different way where it's not trying to hew to the same theming. It's going like, hey, we're going to blow your mind a different way. We're going to go Renaissance pastel paintbrush. We're not going jazzy, impact font on you. They do new stuff in interesting ways, and I find that so refreshing and fascinating. And of course, I'll let you talk again about it. But you mentioned just fan service and all this stuff. I mentioned a few podcasts ago. This feels like an adult game for adults
Yeah.
playing with mature themes. And I think that's so important because they didn't need to have the crutch of a romance or a companion arc in
Yeah.
this game when they easily could have, because like Hulkenberg's a character that could definitely have been implemented that way. Heisme, Stroll, like these are very attractive characters with great backstories and lots to invest in.
Yeah.
But the fact that they felt so confident in their messaging to not do that, I find that to be just a feather in their cap,
Yeah.
honestly. So I don't know what you think, but
It's interesting that like and I'd agree. Like I think being a mature game doesn't mean you need that M rating, right? You
right.
don't need to strive to get that M rating to be a mature
Yeah.
game. You don't have to have the
And Metaphor
sex
is
and
rated T,
the
by the way. I mean,
violence
Metaphor is
and
not
the
rated M. So,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly, yeah. But I feel like Metaphor is a more mature game than a like a Drakengard 3,
Yeah,
And this
sure.
isn't me
Yeah.
like hating on Drakengard 3. I've already said on the podcast I love that game, but
Hmm.
this is a game where I can be like, yeah, okay, I'd want my nephews to play this game, Metaphor. Like this is a great game. Whereas I don't want them going anywhere near Drakengard 3. They're not allowed.
Yeah. For multiple reasons, chiefly among it being the content of the game, but yeah, it also doesn't play that well. So we'll get into that
well,
later.
well,
But
that's
yeah, I
debatable.
totally agree with you there. I would highly. This is a recommend for pretty much anybody
Yeah,
that can
Metaphor,
try it
like
out.
anybody who has a system that can play Metaphor just needs to go out and play Metaphor. Like it's that
Yeah.
type of game where it really should. It now I'm like really irked that the freaking Astrobot won Game of the Year on Game Awards because I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
the Sony sellout game. No, like I'm sure it's a
Well,
great game, but like
it is a
Game
good
of the
game. Yeah.
Year. I don't know. Metaphor had just such a good message that, like, I don't know. I don't know,
Yeah.
man.
Not to relitigate it. I mean, we talked about it last
Mm-hmm.
pod too, because it was just off of Game Awards. It was about 2.5, 3 weeks ago where we talked about it. Um, Astrobot in some ways feels like a commercial, and in some ways that's good, some ways that's bad. They
Yeah.
are marketing nostalgia to you, and nostalgia is the basis form of entertainment. You're trying to, reach back and kind of appeal to people saying like, look at this, look at this, look at this. Like it's just Easter egg the game at some point. But I think there is enough substance there in Astrobot to make it okay. I don't want them to do that again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think if they do anything else with Astro, they need to, not pioneer, but they need to do something different that is not so brand focused necessarily. Um, and I liked it in, excuse me, Playroom. Um, but they feel like they quintupled down on that nostalgia factor for
Yeah.
for Astrobot. Um, but the game itself, I feel like doesn't need it. I think
Yeah.
personally, there's enough interesting things there where it doesn't need it. I feel like they could create their own things and make them interesting. But that's neither here nor there. We should just both be happy that Wukong didn't win because that won like the fan vote and everything.
Oh yeah.
Um, I don't really
Yeah.
like that game. I just don't
I
think it. I don't see the buzz.
yeah,
So
I've never played it. I've watched a friend play through it, and it just
yeah,
didn't look like there was a whole lot of like mechanical substance to that game. It didn't really have like much of a, you know, like interesting story if you already know, the story that it's based off of, then like yeah,
yeah. Journey to the
it's
West. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, they kind of just do. I mean, Journey to the West is Dragon Ball too. It's not like
Yeah.
that specifically, but it's inspired by that. If
Sonic
you
the
want a better
Hedgehog,
version of
that's
Journey,
Journey to the West.
yeah,
That's a better version of Journey to the West.
I. So I mean, this is going to sound. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see that for sure. And we will talk about Sonic later in the show because we saw Sonic 3, so
Mhm,
we'll really talk at length about that for sure. But when it comes to my thoughts just on Wukong, it is in the same bucket for me personally as like a Stellar Blade, where
mhm,
it's just it feels so not fan servicey. Stellar Blade definitely does, but it
mhm.
feels so like mass appeal in a way where they're like,
Yeah.
we spent a lot of money, man, and look at this game. It's not very, it's pretty shallow, but look at these graphics, man. And you get someone like me where I'm like, okay, what's the fuss about? And then I play it, I'm like, this game there's just not a lot to it.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a game that, you can play through, and it all
yeah,
the game things are there, and it has all the mechanics for a single player action RPG. But
yeah.
it's a single player action RPG. I mean, we're gonna get a lot of those this year. I can't wait.
Yeah, RPGs are having some sort of renaissance
The
recently,
action
honestly.
RPG specifically, yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah,
like person
yeah.
with a
These character
sword
focused.
running
Uh-huh.
around
Yep.
slashing.
Like
Yeah,
Phantom Blade Zero's coming out. I mean, they're putting out Onimusha again. Like that sort of thing is happening again with
yeah.
these character focused third person action games, which is good. I mean, I love Onimusha 1 specifically. That's a great game. And the Game Awards in general was a great show. So seeing like an old franchise like that's cool. But I don't know. When you play like a Stellar Blade or Wukong, they're just not interesting either in theme or they feel like they're derived off of something better. Like
Hmm.
for Stellar Blade, it's like a Nier, not rip off, but it's like a Nier inspo, where I'm like, I'd rather just play Nier because Nier is just an
Yeah,
excellent series.
yeah,
And Stellar Blade feels like it's they feel like they're fans of that game and they put a lot of that into that. And I'm like, well, I've kind of already seen what this is going. The music at Stellar Blade is great, but it feels very Nier coded.
hmm.
And then same for Wukong. I'm like, I could play.
Sekiro.
This feels like yeah, totally. I mean,
Go play
yeah,
Sekiro.
but not as good.
Yeah,
It's just not as good. Like it's not. It's a jack of all trades. It wants to be a million things. It's just not
yeah,
as good at any of them, and it's very shallow.
yeah,
Um, and I think that's ultimately why I ended up putting both down,
yeah.
because
I
those are both probably the two like highest fan voted games this year for big, big AAA games.
interesting.
Um, yeah, I mean, Stellar Blade and Wukong are just universally loved by the player base.
Wow.
Um, yeah, especially on PC. Like people play the crap out
I
of
guess I
Wukong
didn't
on
realize
PC.
that Stellar Blade was so high up there, but
Oh yeah, it is. It is. I mean, you go to the PlayStation Store where they have this new rating system where it's like a 5-star rating system. Stellar Blade has like a 4.8, which is really high.
yeah,
I mean, you see most games coming in at a 4.5 or 4.6.
yeah.
4.8 is like that's like an IMDb rating of like uh, 8 or something, where you're just like that is like one of the best things on the site.
Hmm.
It feels very similar to that. But anyway. I agree with you. I think Metaphor should have won the Game of the Year because I find it shocking that IGN and GameSpot picked it. Like that felt like the moment to me where I was like, okay, more people than me are like recognizing what this
Yeah,
game is doing. Like on a like a outlet level, people are going, this game is special. I mean, I can't even think of the last time an RPG won Game of the Year at any site like that, like a
yeah.
JRPG strictly. Um, and
It might have
it's
been
fascinating to
Persona
see.
5 the last time, right?
Maybe, but that came out in 2017. That
Yeah.
was a stack. That was Breath of the Wild year, dude. Like
Maybe Breath of the
that
Wild
game did
one
not
then.
win.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that game did not win.
yeah. You're
I
probably
just
right.
know it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely my vote. It is still my game of the year. I have not played anything that has supplanted it. I played some stuff that had gotten close. Prince of Persia is my second favorite game this year. It's so good. Um, but yeah, I everything that you said just rings totally true. I'm excited for you to finish that game.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a really important
I-
game. I think that people,
yeah,
when they start really playing it, they're gonna be like, yeah, this game needs to be propped up even more.
yeah, and I think it's that word of mouth thing that you see with a lot of games where they're just like, people just talk and talk about it. Like Disco Elysium was this way,
Mm-hmm.
where initially it was pretty popular. Baldur's Gate the same way. It was really
Mm-hmm.
popular coming out, but that word of mouth was like, a gasoline can with a trail of fluid coming from it, and you just lit a match, and it just kind of lights its way all the way until it kind of bursts. And those games are beloved these days
Yeah.
because people just kept talking and talking about him, keeping the flame lit. And that's what Metaphor feels like. It feels like I got in on the ground floor, and I'm like, I'm just waiting for people to come to this thing and go like, "Holy cow, where have we been?" You know. And that's been really exciting to see because I played this as soon as it came out, and I just waited for most of the year to hear about it, and people just going like, "Did you play this Metaphor? It's pretty good." I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yes, I finished it." We were visiting friends whenever we were there for Christmas, and my friend Caleb, you probably met him at my wedding. His fiance actually, she had just finished Metaphor, and I was like, okay, someone I could talk about this with, and it was just really cool because I'm like, I didn't even know you were playing this game,
Yeah.
and you're pretty close to somebody I know, so it's like I don't know if it's as mainstream as Persona 5, but it's
Mm-hmm.
I think if they made a second one, it'd be huge. I really do. Um,
Yeah. I don't.
but yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if I'd like to see another one in this. Where like it feels like I like it as like this just self-contained
just like
thing.
this one, like entry.
I'm not sure if I'd like to see a sequel. They'd have to really do something really
Yeah.
interesting. Like I wouldn't want to see a single one of the characters. Like I'd want a full new cast if they did a sequel. That
Okay,
would be
so I'm of a
interesting.
few. Right, I'm of a few minds about this. So development time. It took them 7 years to make this game.
Mm-hmm.
They were making this in the PS4 era. I mean, alongside Persona 5. Once that wrapped, Hoshino went and did this, created Studio Zero to make this game specifically. Um, the setting is not the entire world,
Mm-hmm.
like the map itself.
Yep.
It's just the kingdom of Uchronia.
Yep.
It's not like the entire, like they could do more.
Yeah.
And this feels like, I don't know. It doesn't, like, by the time you get to the end, the main thing that happens doesn't feel like a localized thing. It feels like it was kind of widespread. So like what could happen,
Mm-hmm.
later down the line? Like,
Sure.
is there something that happened on this side of the world, or seeing what happened
Yeah.
in Uchronia? Like
I would like to
how
see
could
something like
they
that.
branch off?
Yeah.
Right. I don't need to see this party in another game. I'll put it that way.
Yes.
I feel like they belong to this game, and that's fine. But I just don't know if Atlas can help itself. I really don't. I don't know. But
Well,
usually when it comes
Atlas
to those
is
games, they make a new one. So
yeah, they're good at making new settings in their world.
yeah,
So, one thing,
they are. Yeah, they are. But when it comes to like Persona 5, the spin-offs that came off of that game, that's the thing I'm worried about. If they did something like
I
that,
don't want to
where they have
see that.
yeah, I don't, because those games are not very good. I mean, you got
Yeah,
Tactica, Strikers. I mean, you have the dancing games, but those are, that's a dancing game. It's
let's
not a real
just read
thing.
them.
But you have all
Yeah.
these like meaningless spin-offs that come off of this game. You're like, I spent 100 hours with this party. I don't need to see any more about. I have plumbed the depths of
Yeah,
these
I
personalities.
understand this
You know,
party. Like they're not
yeah,
real people, so I don't need to see more of them.
yeah. It's
So
all like window dressing or filler. It feels like
yeah,
filler, like anime
yeah,
filler.
it really
When
is.
you
Yeah,
when you make stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, the things that like I prefer, I like the Persona 4 spin-offs because it's a fighting game, which is awesome.
well,
I love fighting games.
yeah,
Yeah. Ultimax is great.
yeah,
But they also did a dancing game too. But that's it. They didn't do all this like Muso crap or anything else like that, where they're not even part of the main story. I'm like, I don't need to know anything about this. So
yeah.
hopefully they take the right lessons. And I feel like with Hoshino at the helm, I feel like he wouldn't be as pressed to do something like that. If anything, they are going to make another edition of this game, probably with another party member or two. I can see that
Sure,
happening. Yeah.
they're known for that, so that would be okay. I mean,
Yeah,
if they do
specifically
that,
with two people. Yeah.
if
Yeah.
they have like a upgrade feature for people who already
Yep.
own the game, that would be
Hmm.
helpful. I don't want to buy the
Yeah.
entire game again for that. That shouldn't be a
Yeah.
thing anymore.
Well, yeah, that's what's kind of rotten about Persona 5 specifically is that if you own it on PS4, there was no upgrade path. You had to buy that game straight up
Yeah,
on
I
PS5,
did.
which is really rotten. Yeah, I did too, but I got
Yeah,
it
I
on
bought it
sale. I
again
didn't
on
go like I'm gonna.
PS4. I own it twice on
Yeah,
PS4 just to play
it's
Royal.
I own. Yeah, exactly. I own base Persona 5, base Persona 5 Royal on PS4, and then I bought the PS5 version of Royal. It's like, tell me how that makes sense. I
Yeah,
got these all on sales because they're like $20. I was like,
yeah,
I guess I want to play the best version of this. Why not? And
yeah.
it's just one of those things where like, oh, I'll get to this. I'll get to this. Ah, this new version's out. I better get this. So that's really
Yeah,
on me for
I
making
own
poor
it on
decisions. But
Steam as well, but I own the
I think I
whole
own it on.
Persona
I
3
think I own
through
it on
5
Switch.
on Steam. I
Yeah.
don't own it on Switch, luckily. I'm not that dumb.
I yeah yeah I did that. It was cheap. It was cheap. I'm bad with money. But yeah, it's
They're good
I
games,
think
though.
they are good games. I think if they do like the you know whatever you call their next, like the royal version of Metaphor. There are two
That
main
fits so well, too,
NPCs.
if they just called it Royal version.
They would. It would be a little much. I don't know what they would do.
It'll
They
be
they
a
would
little
call
on
it
the
like
nose. Yeah.
maybe they call it like Human Edition because of the monsters or something. I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, they
Um,
call it Metaphor Re Fantasio, so, like, they can't do re in there, right?
no, they
Because that's
can't.
already in the name. They could do Re Fantasio.
I see what you're saying. Like reload. Yeah, they could
Yeah,
do
they
that.
can't
I
do
don't know
like a
what they would do.
reload. They can't do something like that. They can't even do like Metaphor Re, because, yeah, so.
Yeah, maybe they do like Crown Edition or something like
Yeah,
that.
there
Who
you
knows?
go. There you go. Something
Yeah,
like that.
election, January 6th edition of Metaphor. We're going to have the bullhorns as your pre-order. And anyway, I think they could do something interesting. I and this is what I'll talk about in my write-up too. And we're talking a lot about Metaphor, but it's so good. My write-up about this is going to be a review, and in it, I'm basically honest with saying like I played this game for 72 hours. I never got tired of it once, and as soon as it ended, I wanted to start it over. Like that is so that I don't think that's ever happened to me with any game. Usually, when I reach that hour mark in a game, I'm like, wash my hands. I'm done. I don't want
Hmm.
to be part of this world. I've got my fill. I'm good. I was so chomping at the bit to play more Metaphor. I had to delete it from my console. I wanted to play it so bad instead of playing Indiana Jones or Prince of Persia or something.
Yeah.
Like it had its hooks in me so much by the end. I was heartbroken the game ended. That never happens to me ever. I'm a grasshopper. I jump from thing to thing to thing to thing, and I just yeah. It is that good throughout. I don't think there is a bad part of that game, and that's I mean equality level I'm sure are different for different people, but I personally think throughout it only gets better, like genuinely.
Yeah.
I would say the beginning is a little slow, a little bit, but not that slow. They get you in
No.
pretty quick compared to
No.
like a Persona 3 where you're waiting 2 or 3 months to get anything done. And I'll grouse about that later. But anyway, Metaphor is just I am so happy you're playing it because there's some wild stuff happening. Like you're not even to my favorite part of the game. My favorite part of the game is coming up, and I'm so excited for you to hear that and
Nice.
see it. Um, but yeah, the island stuff is where you're at. Is
Yeah.
that where you said you're
Yeah.
at? Okay. Yeah, you're definitely like over halfway, if not halfway. But there's a lot of game left, honestly. You kind of have a lot going on. How much side stuff have you been doing? Have you been kind of doing stuff in
Oh
your off
yeah.
days or what?
I've been doing like all
Yeah.
of the social links and the you know, the getting my stats up and all that stuff. I've played a
The
Persona
virtues,
game
yeah.
before, yeah. So
Yeah. It's they do a lot more virtues than in Persona. And they take a long time
mm,
to level up.
I think it's about the
Well, maybe not Persona
same
5.
as 5,
Maybe not
yeah.
Persona 5. It's more than 4 and 3 specifically.
Mm-hmm.
3 is like 3 stats that take forever ever to level up. But yeah, in Metaphor, there's like a bunch of them, and they kind of manifest as this like crown. It's a really
Hmm.
cool piece of art. Um, but yeah, I guess the next thing I want to talk to you about is what do you think of the archetype system, like the job system? What do you think of that? I
Yeah,
think that's
it's
excellent.
pretty interesting. Yeah, it it's very customizable, so I can see like people really getting deep into that, people that really like RPG systems like that. I like
Yeah,
job systems. I'm a
me
huge
too.
Bravely Default and, um Octopath fan, So I love job systems, but they I think it might be a little bit complex for me. Like I can't see myself getting too deep into it beyond just like, a normal playthrough. Like it but it's cool. I like unlocking, new jobs, and I like, ranking up, I feel like I'm playing a Fire Emblem game when I, get to the next rank or the next like tier in a job, like
Oh,
that's
totally.
cool.
I know
Yeah.
exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the end of that game, like I had pretty much every archetype I could ever want. And you get to a point where you like spec into one thing, but like you said, it's so flexible. Like you can just kind of jump around. Like no one feels
Yeah.
locked in.
Right now,
And you
I'm
get
feeling
some.
like I have like resource problems, especially after getting a
Yeah,
new party member. I'm like, I can't really do anything with this party member, so they're just kind of like there, like
yeah,
they
yeah,
have the thing that they started out with, and I'm just like, okay, well, it's a cool thing you started out with, so you gotta keep that,
yeah.
and I'll play around with that class a little bit, but everyone else, I've already invested into, and so I've never not invested into you, so I'm kind of at a point where I really need to invest into this character if I want to do anything with them, which I do because I found the social link that lets you swap party members for
Mm-hmm.
cheaper, like in Persona 5.
Yes,
And when I saw that, I'm like,
yes.
yes, 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 yes. That was my favorite thing. The social link that lets you get all your like tactical things. That's my absolute favorite social link in Persona 5, just
Mm-hmm.
for the gameplay of the tactics that that character provides, a Hifumi in Persona 5,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
like the shoji player, but in this game, yeah, it's not quite as good, I don't think, at least for me right now. It's only it uses like half a turn icon to swap, but I'm still like brainstorming like, yeah, okay. Now it's not as imperative to swap, I don't think, in this game as it is in like a Persona,
yeah.
because in
I don't think so
Persona
either.
your party members, their jobs are locked, right? They're locked with their single persona. That's them. Those are the elements that they cover. This game is
Mm-hmm.
like, no, you get to fully customize all your characters. All your characters
Yes.
are, Persona 5 Joker, Every single
Mm-hmm.
character is
Yeah.
Persona 5 Joker, so.
Yeah, yeah. I like the archetype system a lot. Like I think having the flexibility to spec where you need to is great. And you said you're having a resource problem, like that changes. Like it just
Yeah.
really changes. But by the time you hit the end game, you have so much resources
Yeah.
to do whatever you want
Yeah.
with, basically.
That's what I'm looking
It
forward to.
becomes like at some
I'm
point,
not
like
having trouble like getting through the game at all. Like I have
right.
like, it's more so my brain's just like, ooh, I want to try this. I want to try this. I want to try this, and I don't have the
So another
resources to
thing
do it.
too that is really cool, and you talked about like locked, persona users, whatever. Once you rank up like each bonds like level and all that, and their class in combat, they receive their own like special like royal archetype. So like by
Oh.
the time like as you go down that tree and you finish all that tree, by the time you get to the end of that, you get a royal archetype, which is like
Oh.
the class version. Yeah. And it's really good. I will
Royal
say it's
archetype.
really good.
Okay, so like each
Uh-huh.
character has their own royal archetype. Is that what you're saying?
Each character does. Yes, every single
Okay,
character has their own archetype that is specific to them. And even the main character does. But I
that's cool.
that's
Yeah,
something
don't
I don't want to get
spoil
into because
me on that.
no, but I'm just
That's a
saying like
cool system though. I like that.
it's a cool system. I feel like you should know that because it'll help you spec in the way you want to, right?
Hmm.
And I for the party, I don't think it's story related. I'm pretty sure it's not. So you can level those up and feel free to do that,
Yeah.
but still have like one or two archetypes you're working on the side. One thing that is very valuable, I think you should know too, is when you master an archetype, I would keep that on because as soon as you master that, your level increases
Yeah, I've
faster. So
noticed
basically, you get
that.
these
Yeah,
master.
I've done that
Yes,
before, but
you
I'm
get
trying to
master
learn
levels, right?
new ones right now.
Right, but listen, this is what's important. You think that using a master one doesn't make sense because you're like, oh, I master this, I should jump to other things.
Yeah.
I recommend you grind with those because they pop these currencies every level
Right,
that
right.
you can use to
Yep.
rank up your archetypes, and it will help you blow through your skill trees. I'm telling you. Like by the
Hmm.
time you hit endgame and you're doing a bunch of the last dungeons, you are just using master archetypes to farm crazy amounts of XP and get these items to upgrade specific archetypes.
Hmm.
It's fantastic stuff. Like it is my favorite combat system in
Yeah.
any turn-based game. I By the time I finished that game, I was just a master of the chessboard. I knew everything I wanted to do, and it gets the one thing we didn't talk about. This game is hard. Like it's a tough game. If you do not get advantage in a fight, you're going to get
Yeah.
trounced, even
Yeah,
on
for
a normal
sure. Yeah,
difficulty.
even on normal
Yeah,
difficulty.
you.
If you don't get advantage, yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna get trounced. If you don't like know like the way to like maneuver around
Hmm.
things. Like I've played a lot of jank games, so I kind of know how to maneuver around in a
Yeah.
limited combat system to get behind the enemy. But
Right.
if you're not
Right.
familiar with like a jank combat system, because really outside of the RPG system, it's pretty dang jank. But
Yeah. For sure.
yeah. But I mean, if you're like me and you're running around, trying to complete all these dungeons in one go, and so your main character is that mage class, then you got to get good with that mage
Yeah.
class, combat. And it's actually probably the worst one for like getting those ambushes on
Probably.
enemies.
Yeah.
um,
Because of the hack and slash portion is kind of like a radius. It's
yeah,
it's tough to hit those enemies, and that's
it's
something
hard to
I
hit the one
also
you
will
want
bring up.
too. Yeah,
Exactly, it's not very like I'm targeting this thing slash slash. It's like a
yeah,
whirlwind attack for
whoosh.
that mage, but that mage is so important for going through these long dungeons because they replenish your MP.
Yeah,
Like I knew this, but like I didn't want to use the mage so bad. Like I did a pugilist build where it's just
I
like
haven't even
you're
touched
using
that
health.
class yet. Haven't
Yeah,
even touched it.
it's so good though because like I always had a healer in my party, so I made Stroll my healer.
Yeah,
He never ever really ever left my party because I spec'd him out so far in his healing
he's my healer
class,
too.
like he had everything. He had everything.
Yeah,
So it was a perfect stack because I can kind of switch the last two as needed. I used a lot of Hulkenberg, a lot of Heismay. I used a lot of the last party members too. I'm not
yeah.
going to get into it. But I was using these health attacks, and it's not costing me any MP at all to use any of
So
them.
you did
It's
go a
just health.
strength build on main
I
character.
did strength
That's
build,
awesome.
pugilist through the entire
That's
game.
awesome.
I dabbled in other archetypes too,
Yeah.
but it was so great because I always had a healer. I was always being healed, and for my big attacks that did cost MP, I always had resources to use them, and
Yeah.
it was so powerful, dude. I can't even tell you.
And
And they target weaknesses like no one else.
since you were paying health, yeah, then you weren't as like mana
Yeah.
dependent as somebody like me who is like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm trying to target specific weaknesses every single encounter.
Yeah.
So I'm throwing
Yeah.
mana left and right, so I have to have my protagonist as that mage class
That
to
mage
give
class.
me
Yeah. Right.
enough mana. So I did end up. I've started like at the beginning of the game. I thought, oh, this is Shin Megami Tensei protagonist. He probably doesn't know any magic, so I'll just put it all into strength. And
Yeah.
so I did that at the start of the game. Then I unlocked the mage class, saw what that did, and I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I need to switch to magic. So then
Yeah.
from now on I've just every single level up I've just magic, 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 magic.
Yeah, magic is very strong because it's very weakness focused, like the Persona games. And
Yeah.
it's that press turn function where you want to get the drop on an enemy, get the advantage, and then press turn with the weaknesses.
Yep.
Because as you get weaknesses, you have these pips. They're like these I don't know. They're like the starbursts basically.
Turn
They
icons,
each
yeah.
are a yeah. They're like full yeah. They're turn icons on the top of your screen. They're a full turn and then a half turn within. So basically, if you target a weakness, um, for most attacks, it's going to use one of those pips. But if you target a weakness and you are successful in that, it reduces to a half pip, meaning you basically get a free turn.
Yeah.
Like not really, but it's you're getting think of it as like an egg. You're getting to the yolk at that point. Um,
But you,
and I
though,
just
I
think
mean, you
it's
can do full turn actions with that half turn, so really it is a full turn.
it is a full turn, but like the way they break it up is really interesting.
Uh-huh.
It makes it
It's hard
like
to explain. You just gotta kind of like
yeah.
experience it, but
Yeah. It took me a second to know what I was looking at. I was like, why is this one smaller? This one's bigger. And I was like,
uh-huh.
oh, it's because yeah, I'm hitting weaknesses. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as you play it, you can start adding turns, reducing turns, buffing, debuffing. It's really cool stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They've
yeah,
really utilized that Shin Megami Tensei system to its max in terms of like the buffs you can do, the debuffs you can do, what you have access to at all times, because essentially, you have access to, any amount of, personas or demons, whatever you want to call them, whichever flavor of, Atlas RPG you prefer, but you have access to essentially whatever kind of build you want to do. Like, the world is your oyster with this game. There's no RNG gambling on, getting the right, skills and right, whatever on your persona or your demon.
yeah, right.
It's just you just build your class like a traditional, sort of job system. But
Yeah. It feels very Final Fantasy VI that way.
yeah,
Where
if you like this, I'm telling you, if you like this job system, you're really gonna like the Bravely series, and you're really gonna like the
I believe it.
Octopath series because they're
I
a
believe
lot
it.
like it. And I think those games are even more streamlined. So if you're
Mm.
someone like me who isn't wanting to get too deep into it, then I kind of like that a little bit better than this, to be honest. But
Okay, sure.
this is not bad at all. Like, this is great. I like this. I like this.
It
So.
even grew on me as I played. I mean, as you finish it, I think you'll have more concrete thoughts
Oh
because of
yeah,
the stuff they give you. Like the
yeah,
tools you are afforded by the end of the game are going to blow your mind. You're going to be
yeah.
like, I am a god. Like even on tougher difficulties, like you are just trouncing. Like they introduce bosses at the beginning of this game, they become regular enemies. That's not
Yeah,
that's a trope of JRPGs, right?
yeah,
But it makes you feel really powerful, and I
yeah.
think they do that really well.
So
Um,
with that, I want to touch on that pugilist build real quick. How were you able to
yes,
get through
please.
that first dungeon? Like, did you get through it in one go? That very first dungeon, the
Okay, so like
Grand
in the
Cathedral.
Grand Trad, yeah, in
Yeah,
Grand Trad, yeah. I what did I do? So I think the pugilist build is unlocked by a social link, and I can't
yeah.
remember
It
which
was
one
the
it is.
Catherine one that you get in there,
Catherine.
so you would have been
Yes,
able to
yes.
start it in that
Okay,
dungeon.
yes. So what I did is, yes, I met up with her. I was using just the regular build, like the wind build. I didn't like that too much. I never really used it.
Yeah, the seeker.
The one they
Yeah,
just give you, yeah,
yeah.
the one they give you at the top.
I
So they're
ran it
like,
on
oh, this is yours.
Heisme. I'm running it on Heisme for a while. I'm still running Magic Seeker on Heisme right
Yeah, Magic
now.
Seeker's not bad. I don't
Yeah.
prefer it.
I feel
Heisme is
like
a
it's not doing a lot. I've noticed that Heisme can't really do a whole lot of magic damage, so maybe I shouldn't be using
yeah.
magic on him, but
He is a great DPS character if you
yeah.
know how to use him. Yeah,
I'm not
because
doing a lot of damage with
he's like
him,
a
so I
ninja.
think I'm doing it wrong.
Hmm. No, it's not that. I just think like I would pay attention to like, and this is getting really nitty gritty for the listener, but like I would pay attention to like when you are building those characters, there's that screen where you can pay the mag points or not mag, but like the money
Yeah.
to like add different attacks or whatever, different pieces of
Yep.
magic, different special attacks, different almighty attacks, different money attacks, whatever you want. As you basically as you unlock them on different characters and different archetypes, you can some of them feed back into being able to put them on other archetypes.
Right.
So for instance, you have a merchant build you get through Brigida, for instance.
Yeah.
which is great, which is a money build, which is great for getting money and also spending it. It's kind of a
Hmm.
good give and take. You spend less than you get, which
It's
is
not.
ends up being great.
I'm kind of disappointed with the merchant class in this game. That's like the strongest
Yeah.
class in Octopath Traveler, and that's my
It's pretty
favorite
strong. It's pretty
class.
strong once you
And
get to the later class. There's a
okay,
couple
I
classes in the merchant
okay,
tree.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. The second
That
one is really
that
really
base
powerful.
merchant class just feels a little weak to me, and that's like my favorite
Sure.
class archetype in JRPGs. So I was like,
I
this is
think
kind of
okay. I
disappointing.
also I used Heisme with the merchant build, and I will say that was really viable. I think
Yeah.
that's really good. The thing about Heisme is he's really great with evasion and stealth.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a lot of good darkness attacks like Mudo and Madoon.
Yes.
That
Yes.
stuff
Yep.
is really good, especially for large groups of enemies. Like um, there's a lot of creatures in dungeons that are weak to darkness
Mm.
specifically that's really good against. So I think you should continue going down that like tech tree of his, like his specific tree, because the next class and then the class after it, especially the last class he gets before his royal is ninja, and it's so powerful. Like the DPS is unreal. Um, I agree with you that he's not as strong as like the main character, even in
Yeah.
pugilist build. He's just not. But he's great for evasion. The one thing that is such a cheat code that people don't talk about enough is when the enemy attacks you, because they're just as powerful as you are when it
Yep.
comes to targeting weaknesses, getting extra turns, whatever. That's why getting a jump on them is so important. If they miss you, and vice versa, if you miss them, it cuts turns,
Yep.
which is
2 full
huge.
turns. Yeah.
Yes, he got so clutch one time. I was fighting one of the hardest bosses in the game with Heisman in my party, and the boss missed twice in 2 rounds on him and cleared his turn markers. I
Yeah.
was like, unbelievable. And
Yep.
then I just waxed him after that
Yeah.
because once you get on top, you're able to duplicate turns, debuff, and just go crazy. And that's exactly what I did. So having that evasion, especially later, and you can get items to even add to his evasion later in the
Yeah.
game.
I've just
Um,
with these types of games,
it's
those
huge.
types of items, I always just put them on the main character. I know it's
I
boring,
do
but
too. Yeah,
I always just
I
put
do
them
too.
on the
But
main character.
for instance, like Hulkenberg is primarily a defense character. I would put the defense items on her.
Yeah.
Um, Heisman is the evasion character. I put it on him. Um, Stroll was my healer, so I put it like
All of
the
my characters are
Magla stuff.
DPS. I don't believe in
Okay.
defense. So my
Inter-
Hulkenberg is DPS. My Heisme is
okay.
DPS. My Stroll is DPS. My main character is DPS. They're all
So are you?
DPS.
Yeah. Are you using Hulkenberg's tree? Are you like doing the Dark Knight
No,
stuff or what?
no,
Okay.
I'm not using that tree at all. I
Okay.
have
That's a great
Hulkenberg
tree.
on the warrior tree, and I have uh, Stroll on the cleric tree, and I've got main
Yes. Stroll the
character
cleric. Yep. Hmm.
on the mage tree, as I said, and I've got well, I've kind of bounced Heisme back and forth from Seeker and Thief, but
Sure.
maybe I felt like I was supposed to use Seeker, right? I felt like the game is like you should
Yeah.
use Seeker, so I'm trying to
Yeah.
use
Sure.
Seeker, but I'm feeling like
Sure.
it's really underwhelming. Like it
It is
gives
underwhelming.
good it gives good synergies for like the synergy mechanic in the game, which is a really cool mechanic.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Yeah.
like I don't know, like maybe he'd be better off on another class. Like I've dabbled
You're
with
not
sniper a
wrong.
little bit.
Yeah.
I've dabbled
Yeah.
with his base class thief. I've got him to assassin. So I've
Yeah.
dabbled
Sure.
with that, but I still don't know what to do with him. I guess I'm trying to figure out what to
Yeah.
do with him. Maybe I will try
I
him on a sniper build or a
Yeah, I was
assassin
gonna say
build.
yes. Sniper build is a fantastic build for Heisman because it's all
Yeah.
long range and evasion. And if you pull them in the back row too, there's a front row and back row part of this game where like
Hmm.
magic builds are more powerful in the back, and
Oh, are they
they
really
can
more
dodge.
powerful in the back? I guess I didn't
They are,
realize
yes,
that.
and DPS is more powerful in the front.
I know you
Um,
get more defense in the back. I don't think it boosts your magic though, as far as I'm aware.
It's more, no, the magic attacks are more powerful in the back line. They are,
I haven't
not by
noticed
too
that.
much, but
Yeah,
by enough. And then your DPS is stronger in the front line.
yeah, I knew
So,
that. Yep.
yeah. So
Well,
the sniper build
I've
is perfect
got
for that.
I had to move Hulkenberg to commander class because
Okay, that's a
I
good
needed to
class though.
level
That's
that
a good
up,
class.
and
Mhm.
also for to get to samurai in the warrior tree, I had to level up commander.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that was all through like the Bard stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
but so that's what I'm doing right now. So I've been playing with that mechanic. I really like the one where it shoves all your allies to the
Uh-huh.
front and gives you the really good attack boost. That's really good.
Yeah, I haven't done a ton of commander stuff, but that's the one I wanted to dabble in most by the time I ended up finishing it.
Yeah, I've been having fun with
And
that.
so much
So
flexibility for
you
sure.
didn't.
And
What we're saying is you didn't use commander at all. I'm like a big commander fan. That's like
yeah,
easily one of my favorite classes now. I
yeah,
didn't use
basically.
pugilist at all, and that's
Hmm.
like one of your sounds like that was your build around. So like it's
I
such a
ran the
deep
entire
game
game with
that
pugilist. Yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
even touched the class yet at all. I don't even know the first thing about the
Literally,
class.
it was
So
so good. Like the pugilist build was so good with Stroll being my main part. I used Stroll as cleric strictly. He was nothing
yeah,
else. Like I got to his last tech tree in that in Savior where you
yeah,
can literally party heal everybody
yeah.
and it's just healing with HP attacks after HP attacks is so clutch. And then I can use my big attacks with MP. It was unbelievable how much I was breaking people down. And the thing I will say about classes, and you're worried about like the seeker stuff. The thing that is the problem with seeker, and we will move on at some point, but metaphor is on the brain for sure. The thing about seeker that is so I feel like is so like it's not as powerful as other classes is it targets wind weaknesses primarily, and there's not a lot of wind affected enemies as compared to like ice affected enemies or fire
Maybe.
affected enemies or even lightning affected enemies.
So
There are wind damage enemies, but they pale in comparison to the other status
the
effects.
way I
I
play
think.
these games is, um, I I don't I try to cover the like physical damage types, right? But I can't always cover all
Yeah.
those due to the way my party's kind of constructed. But I have
Hmm.
at least two of each um, like damage type on like all my like core party members. Like that's how I kind of
All right.
would go into every
Yeah.
dungeon. I'd be like, yeah, okay. I have two of
Hmm.
this damage type, two of this damage type, two of this damage type for all the magical
Yeah.
damage types. And
Hmm.
so, but now that I've sort of been unlocking like the switching mechanics and the I'm probably getting new party members soon, and so now I'll be able
Very
to
soon. Yeah.
expand that a little bit more. But that's kind of like every dungeon. Like I would do that, and then like I would figure out what are the creatures in here, like the problem creatures in here weak to, and then I'd slap those
Yeah.
weaknesses on as like the
Totally.
inheritance skills. So
Yeah, that's a good that is definitely the way to go when you're in the early game for sure.
yeah,
I
that's
like
what I
that.
did
That's
in the
good.
early
Having
game.
those two like magical attacks, like someone having like Mazio and someone
Then I can
having
just
whatever they call it.
yeah, then I can just like try out each
Yeah,
different in the rewind system. Oh my goodness, I love the battle
it's
rewind
huge.
system. It
It's
just it's
huge.
so good for not wasting your time. Like how am I supposed to
Yeah.
know that this thing is weak to this thing, I'm just gonna mash that rewind until I find the weakness, I'm not gonna waste my time and
Yeah.
you know energy and I'm just gonna rewind. Give
Hmm.
me that rewind button. I
Yeah,
have things to do.
it's
Like
like
I'm trying to get through this
it's
game.
like a get a yeah, it's like a get out of jail free card, and
Yeah,
that's what's so good about it. You're playing and you're like deep into a fight, and you're like, I should probably restart because I just know with my party comp and people down or whatever, or I'm out of MP, I'm never going to be able to
but
do
I
it this
don't
way.
want to
So
restart my whole dang game just to do that.
yes, yes, I just want to start this battle over because I feel like I could have made this turn
Yeah,
better, right? And more often than not, like if you have a strategy in mind, it does work.
yeah,
I
I
will
did
say,
that a
um,
lot, a lot, a lot in that first
yeah,
dungeon boss because I went through that whole
yeah,
dungeon in one
mm-hmm,
go,
mm-hmm,
and even with the
yeah,
MP recovery of the mage and using all of my MP recovery items, I had just like a little bit of MP on each party member, like to do just a
yeah,
couple of MP attacks with each. Like I think
totally,
main character and Stroll maybe had like 100 MP, and then like Hulkenberg had like maybe 50 MP
uh
at
huh,
the end of that, and those were the only three for that dungeon. And so
right,
I just
right,
had to work
yeah,
with what I had and come up with
yeah.
a
I was there
plan,
with you.
a lot of
Yeah,
trial and error
yeah.
to get through that dungeon in one go. But
I'm pretty sure I did that dungeon only in 2 days because I I backed out after I talked to Katharina and got the pugilist build. And then when I came back, I finished it.
Yeah.
But even then, I was still running at MP because that's not a small dungeon. I mean, it's a fairly
No,
large dungeon.
it's the
Um,
biggest one in the game that I've seen so far. So
so far, I'm trying to think if there's one longer than that. I
not so
think you're
far.
about to hit one of the
Yeah.
longer ones. You're about
Okay.
to hit one of the longer ones, actually.
Okay.
On the island,
Because
there is
that
a
yeah
long
that
dungeon.
one that I mean that one was an amazing dungeon. Like I
Yeah, it's a
usually
great
with
one.
these games I'm like, oh, I gotta go do the dungeon now. I wanna
I
do the
know.
story. But this game
That's how
is
I feel
like,
going to Tartarus. Yeah, and in
yeah,
Persona 3, that's how I feel. Yeah.
that's how I feel in Persona 3. That's how I feel in Persona 4. That's how I feel in Persona 5.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mm-hmm.
like Persona dungeons. Like I just don't really like them. Um,
Sure.
I
Sure.
and maybe
I
it's
can
because I've
definitely
done
see
them
that.
so much, but I just get tired of them. But
I think the Persona 5 dungeons are really good. I don't like 3 and 4 that much for that. I'm there for the story and the characters
yeah,
for both.
for all those games, that's just how I am. But
Yeah,
for this
yeah.
game, like I don't really mind going to the dungeons. In fact, I kind of look forward to the dungeons.
Yeah, that's what I like about this game. Like everything is perfectly balanced. Like
Yeah,
you're always excited to do something, and there's always something great to do. You know, man, this game is so good. Like I was shocked how much I loved it. And it's not like these games aren't my cup of tea. You know, I played this game and I started it and I was just like, okay, I see everything I like about this is present at the beginning. Even though the beginning is just a smidge slow, it really picks up
it's
after you meet Stroll.
it's really crazy how they were able to wrap this whole game into the shell of you're a high school protagonist.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
basically, without
yeah,
saying
like
you're the high school
yeah,
protagonist.
you're
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
they're still doing the high school protagonist thing. It's hard for me to
they
like
are,
wrap my
they
head
are.
around it. Like sometimes like it doesn't feel like you're still the high school protagonist, but really
Yeah,
you are still the high school boy protagonist. But
yeah.
it's just such like
So,
an outlandish world and like such like different cadence to the story and different themes to the
hmm
story than like any Persona game that you don't feel that, but they still got
hmm
away with shoehorning in the high school boy protagonist somehow.
Okay, so a couple questions as we kind of end the metaphor like gushing because we got to move on at some point.
Yeah,
We will continue to talk about this, especially next pod, where
yeah,
this is going to be probably the main game of the year for both of us.
yeah.
We will talk at length in a spoiler capacity about pretty much
Oh
everything
yeah,
to
oh
do
yeah,
with Metaphor. I will talk to you about the end of this game because I really want to know what you
yeah.
think about it. It is fascinating. Um, Two things I want to bring up. Well, okay, let's start here first. What party member did you recently just get? That's what I want to know. I'm pretty sure I know which one you got.
Yeah, Juna or whatever her name
Juna,
is. Yeah,
that's right. So basically, medieval Taylor Swift. You got her.
yeah,
She's cool.
eh,
She's a good character. It's very interesting. She's not what she seems, honestly, as you
yeah,
play her social link. It's really cool. But Heisme. Let's talk about Heisme as we finish here. What do you think of Heisme so far, and how far are you into his bond?
Chef's kiss.
I know,
It's
that dude, best new
prepare to
character, like
cry. Like
straight up.
any time in his
Prepare to
bond,
cry.
prepare to cry.
I know. I know. So how far are you into that? Like he was the first Bond I finished
Yeah,
was
I think
his.
I've got him at maybe rank 6. I want to say.
Oh my gosh. Yes, you're hitting the best part is the like the pinnacle of his social link for sure.
Yeah,
I just think he's like best new character, best character in the last 5 years. Like he is such
what a
a
well written character. Yeah.
well written, thought out, fleshed out, designed character. Like he is
Hmm.
so I love his design. Love his
The
design
UG
chiefly.
have really cool designs. Yeah.
They do. I think all of the races have really interesting designs. The
Hmm.
Parapet, the Ujif, the
Yeah.
Rogue,
All of
the
them
Clamar, they're all
seem
interesting.
yeah they're very well thought out designs for sure. Every single design
Yeah, and
is
they
really well
don't
thought
seem
out.
like they don't seem like alien. They seem like offshoots of like medieval concepts.
Yeah,
But they're all interesting and they're all specific in their own way. I
yeah.
think the Parapets get a little furry for my taste, but I think that's fine.
Mm.
Honestly,
I
I like the
don't
differences.
I don't really see it, to be honest. I don't see the furriness of. If anything, the UG are like the furry race in my
Yeah, I
head.
guess
But
so. Yeah, yeah. They're
um,
a little mascotty looking sometimes, but they don't come off that way.
yeah, no, they don't come off
100%.
that way. Yeah, I
Yeah.
I I just can't help but think of like the Xenoblade races and compare those to this
Yeah,
game, and like
yeah.
this game has way better designs for the races
It
than
does. I
Xenoblade.
love I love Xenoblade. You're right, though. You are
Yeah.
right. I just played Xenoblade Chronicles 2 today again because I'm trying to play that
Oh
before I play 3.
no,
And
I'm so sorry.
oof, oof.
Oh, playing that after
Uh,
Metaphor also, like, oh, that must
I
hurt.
know. It's like I don't know. It's like brushing your teeth and then drinking orange juice. It's the same
Yeah,
feeling.
yeah.
Which is kind of a bummer, but it's a fine game. Xenoblade Chronicles 1's where it's at. That's a great
I
game.
like I
But
like what I've played of 3 so far. That's the only one I've really
I want to
delved
play 3,
into.
but the thing about not to get too in the weeds about it, the thing about that is 3 has a DLC that contains characters from 1, 2, and 3. So I need
Yeah,
to play it, and they
you
even
don't have
have stuff
to.
from Xenogears.
You can
I
just
don't,
skip
but they
to.
have stuff from Xenogears, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 has some stuff from Xenosaga, which I have too. I need to play those. Ugh, they're all I got to play the whole series. The Xeno series is great. But anyway, wrapping it up, Heisman's best new character. We're going to have some categories for Game of the Year. He's probably going to win it, and then we're going to probably bring up a couple other people.
Yeah,
Um,
I like
the
Stroll
the
as well
categories
in
for him.
terms of the like companion characters. I have done rank 8 with Stroll. He was my first
Me too. Yeah,
rank 8,
yeah,
and he was
very good character.
absolutely great story
He's
arc.
he's the best version of that character type,
Yeah,
like
like
the
the
best
best
friend
friend.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's better than Junpei, better
Oh
than
yeah,
Yosuke,
yeah,
better than Ryuji.
yeah. Way better
He's
than
just
Ryuji.
the
Way better than Yosuke.
no one likes Ryuji. I don't care what anyone says. Ryuji sucks.
Well,
Um,
I like him better
but
than Anne, but
well, yeah, I mean for like this archetype, yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Um, I mean, and kind of is that Hulkenberg role where the next the big female protagonist that people
No,
really
no,
want to invest in. You don't
no.
think so?
She's nothing like Hulkenberg's a way better
No,
character
I
than
agree.
Anne.
I think Hulkenberg outclasses everybody pretty much
Yeah.
besides Heismay. I think Hulkenberg's Bond is excellent too. That's a really
Hmm.
good one. There's not a bad Bond to go. Okay, that's not true. There's one Bond I feel like makes no sense.
Okay.
And once you do it, we will talk about it. It is baffling what they do with that
What
last couple levels.
what class tree is it? Or is that a
Faker.
spoiler? Oh, okay. Yeah,
Faker.
I'm doing that one right now. Yeah, it's
That
interesting so far. I've done
the
like the
end of
first
that is
few
so
ranks of it.
weird.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll
I
let you
will
know what
say
I
I
think
did
of it
not like
when we
what they
do a
decided to
spoiler
do.
cast.
Yes, we'll probably do that. And honestly, I know somebody else that finished it, so maybe we can get her on it too. I think that'd be fun.
So,
But that that one was really wild. The other bonds I had no problem with, but the
yeah.
the character choice they decide for that confidant is so odd. It's so odd.
For
Anyway,
that Faker
that's wrapping up
confidant, you mean?
the Faker confidant.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's interesting for sure. The way they
Fun
started it at
fact.
least is very weird.
Yeah, fun fact. That character, I forget his name, is a Nydia, like Juna
Yes.
is.
Yep.
Yeah, the eyes. So
Yep.
they look like humans and everything but their eyes. Basically, they're like
Hmm.
these glassy emerald eyes. Um, but yeah, that's Metaphor, man. You've been playing a ton of it. That's so exciting. It's such a good game. We are going to talk about it at length at some point, and it's going to be we're going to just cut loose, and I'm so excited to do that with you. It's game of the year, my favorite game of the last couple of years. It is going to take all the awards I have to give it. So I guess yeah, we'll stay on the Atlas train because I've been playing. Or I guess anything else for Metaphor you want to wrap up before I kind of jump into Persona
No,
3?
I've said my piece, but we'll talk about it
Okay.
more.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't have a lot to say about Persona 3 Reload. I just kind of want to complain about it a smidge, and I don't want to be. Uh,
Don't hate on my holy grail
I
now.
don't want to do this. Okay, I don't want to do this. I want to like this game, but it's tough, man. Like I feel like it is so slow. The beginning of this game is so slow.
This
I am in
yes,
June.
it is.
I know June is when the game starts, but I'm like, I have such a sour taste in like how slow it started. I don't like the stats, the academics, the whatever you call it,
Hmm.
the three main stats you have. I think they take way too long. The activities you're investing in, they don't give you enough points to invest in those. And I understand like they need to run a whole game through that,
Hmm.
right? But I don't know. It just feels like This is more of a redo than a remake. They're like basically making the same game again in Persona 3, but they're changing some. They're basically fixing everything that people did not like about those previous versions. Besides the female root, they should have added that back, I think.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. Um,
They don't do
I
females
just think,
anymore, though. They only do high school boys, so that's what they've pretty
right,
much said.
with blue hair, they have
Yeah.
blue hair, and
Well,
yeah.
they don't always have blue hair, but they definitely do the high school boy thing.
They do in Metaphor too. So,
Well, they have it in Metaphor and they have it in 3, but they
so
had
they
white
do.
hair
Yeah,
in 4 and they had black hair in 5. So it's
yeah.
different.
Well, in 4 you had gray hair, right? Yeah, you had gray hair.
I guess gray, white,
Um,
yeah, I don't know.
Whatever. Anyway, that's kind of it. I like Persona 3 Reload. I do not love it. I hope that changes. I got spoiled to the ending. I kind of need to play it
Ooh,
because of that. In a good way, where it made me want to play it.
okay,
Because at
yeah.
that point before, I was not like that.
It's
When
such a
I heard,
unique take on the Persona like ending, like what you expect from a
yeah,
Persona ending. It's so unique. It's just
and I don't
so
want to
well
spoil it for
done.
people listening because I know what happens there.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to some Game of the Year podcast stuff just from Giant Bomb on it, and I was just like, oh, that is interesting. Okay, and then the
There's a
DLC
reason
covers what
why
happens after that.
it's my favorite Persona game. It's pretty good.
Sure, and that makes sense, and that makes me want to finish it. So I'll
It's
pick it
not.
up. It's not going to be,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
it's not going
really
to be,
hard game to get through. It's a really hard game to get into. It's not like a Metaphor. It's not. They didn't modernize it enough, I don't think, right? I really
okay,
don't think they
yeah,
modernized it enough for the remake. I don't. But
sure,
what's there in the remake is, it's basically the same game as the original with some bells and whistles added on. A little bit of
yeah,
streamlining, not much.
right.
But it, like that story, that the atmosphere of the game, especially towards the end, and like just like the music, especially like that soundtrack is just I love that soundtrack
And
so
it's very good.
much.
Disturbing the Peace is awesome. Also, changing seasons, mwah,
Uh huh.
mwah,
Uh
mwah,
huh.
mwah. So good,
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
I love it. I do miss the Persona 4 stuff because I love Persona 4 so dearly. Once they do Persona 4 Reload or whatever they're going to call it, I'm just going to I'm going to be lost to my own family. Like I just love that game so much. I know you're an op to it, like
I'm
you
up
said,
to it.
but
Yeah.
as soon as it comes out, you're gonna be like, yeah, this is a good game finally. I love
Maybe
Persona
I'll
4.
I'll give it another go when they do that remake. You know I will. I'll give
I
it
love
another go.
Persona 4, man. I love Persona 4. The party members, Chie
I can't
is the best
stand
girl.
Yosuke. I can't stand him.
Yosuke sucks. Yosuke sucks, but I like it more than Junpei. It's the same
What?
problem I have. Yeah,
No.
yeah. I don't.
Junpei gets so much better. You just have to let him grow on you.
Okay,
He gets so
I
much better.
don't like the performance of Junpei in Reload. I will say that.
Okay.
I don't like the voice acting. I think
Okay.
that's one of the main things. Where he's talking like this on the side, like
Yeah.
like miss me with that.
Yeah.
I like the nuance of the original Vic
Yeah.
Mignogna performance.
No,
He
I
played
agree.
Edward Elwood, and I
Yeah,
just think he sounds so much better. You know,
I like
and
that. I like Persona 3
yeah,
Portable. I think Persona 3 Portable is a better game than Persona 3
yeah.
Reload. But
Yeah, I don't know. I'm of two minds about it. I like
yeah,
the stuff they changed in modernizing it, but they
they
changed a
didn't
little
change all
too
that
much
much.
sometimes.
I feel like they
Well, I
didn't
think the VO.
modernize that much.
No, it's really the VO for me. That is a huge
Yeah,
part of this game.
yeah,
Like changing voice actors just to change it. Eh. I especially when there's better. Like if they're going to recast Teddy in Persona 4, it's going to kill me. I love Teddy. I love Teddy. Um,
yeah. He's
because
a
they're
fine
going
character.
and they're going to recast Chie, and she's so perfect. The redub of Chie from original 4 to Golden is such a glow up, dude.
Yeah,
You should hear Chie in original 4. It is not even close to
that's funny.
how they capture her in that,
Yeah,
and then in dancing, even in Ultimax. It is so much better. I think I prefer the new Akihiko to the old one. Um,
I don't like
I think I prefer
Akihiko
pretty much.
either. I hate that character.
Really.
Yeah,
Okay, so you don't like the character. You don't care about the voice acting. Okay, gotcha.
yeah. I don't like
Yeah,
that
it's
character. I don't like Ryusei
he's
either.
cool. You don't like Rise? Okay,
I
gotcha.
don't like a
So
lot of the
okay,
cast in Persona 4. Basically, is what I'm saying. I like Chie, and maybe Teddy is
is
okay.
okay. So is Rise in 5?
No, Risei's in 4. Risei's the
Right, but
pigtail
is
girl.
okay. So who's the new character in Persona 5 Royal then? Or who's that new character?
Um,
The redhead. That's not Rise, right?
no, that's
Okay, I don't know. I've never played it, so
what's her
never
face?
finished it.
Yeah, she's like an acrobat. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't
okay.
know.
I didn't know because she
She's
looks kind of like Rise a little bit. So
Yeah, they needed a character that was younger than the main character for some reason, so they put her in there. So now they have an even younger
interesting.
character for you to go after.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. It's
Personas,
yeah.
strange.
Yeah, I like Persona 3 Reload. I don't like how, your stats tie into your social links and like for instance, I'm still trying to get the TV man with all the deals to talk to me, but my charisma's not smooth, and that sucks. I
Well,
don't
they
like
do
that.
that
I
same thing
like
in
being able
Metaphor.
they do that, but you have more to invest in and they're easier to get leveled up. I will say that. It is. It is way faster.
I don't know.
And you're able to do way more things to level those things up than you are in Persona 3. There's like a few things you can do at night. I just I don't know. Maybe it's just empty complaining. I need to play more of the game. I won't
Mm-hmm.
finish it by the time Game of the Year comes around, I think. And that's fine. I will finish it. I just don't know when. I have it downloaded. I haven't deleted it or anything, but I'm stepping away just for a little bit until probably after my trip, and then I will probably jump again in on it, and I'll be just like, you know what, just play through Tartarus, do your stuff, and just let the game present itself to you. Because I need to just get out of June. I think I just need to blow through June, and once I'm in July, I think the game is going to be a little more interesting. Um,
Yeah,
and I
that
don't hate it at all. I think it's
game
great. I think it's great, but
it definitely gets better as it goes. That's just how the game is. Like a lot of
yeah,
the nuance of
I
the
think
game, a lot of the really good story beats of that game are towards
okay.
the latter half of the game. That's just how the game
Yeah.
works. So
Yeah, it's just coming from Metaphor, I was like, man, that really gets you in quick. And I think that's probably one big part of the detriment for me.
yeah,
But that's
that's how every
that's a
Persona game is, though. Every Persona
it
game
is. It's
takes
just a
forever to
it's
get
an unfair
into compared to
criticism.
a Metaphor. Like Metaphor, they knew what they wanted to do. They get you right into it. They
Yeah.
tell you, what this world is about, what your reason for, playing through this is, what your story is going to be about. If you don't like it, the door is right there, and if you're invested, then carry on. That's
Yeah,
they don't trick
basically.
you. There's no
And
tricks.
they don't trick you. They're very clear about what they expect.
Yeah.
And I will finish Persona 3. I just Metaphor was so engaging
I
throughout.
think you can
Uh
like. I think within like at least like Steam's like 2 hour mark, I would confidently say that you could, even if you didn't like play that demo that they had, which I guess is supposed to be pretty fully featured. But
for Metaphor?
yeah, how far does that demo
Yeah.
go to? I guess.
Oh gosh, it's like some people were playing it for 7 to 8 hours. I want to say
Oh
like it was a
wow.
hefty demo. It was the beginning of the game, up to almost the first dungeon.
Okay.
It's that entire dragon dungeon in the mines or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yep. Yep.
um, which is fairly beefy. Like that is pretty.
That was a
That's like the
fun
tutorial.
fight.
That's like
That dragon
yeah.
fight. That didn't even feel like a
I killed that
tutorial
dragon too.
fight. I did. Yeah. Yep.
No,
Yep.
no, it was
I
really
didn't
good. You
even
get a
try
good
and
weapon
sneak
out of it.
around it. I'm like, I can fight a dragon. I want to fight a dragon.
And they're just like, oh, only do it if you're ready. I'm like, I guess
Yeah.
I'm ready. I don't know. And it wasn't that hard. It
No,
really
it
wasn't that hard.
wasn't.
I think I tried it over once because it
I
like
did too. Yeah.
I wasn't yeah, I wasn't aware of like what I was supposed to look out for, and I was like, oh, okay, I see
Yeah.
this. Waxed it. The mage build was great for that. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
anyway, yeah,
H class.
I will play more Persona 3 Reload. I don't hate it or anything. It needs to grow on me a little bit. I put 16
Yeah.
hours into it. I put a fair amount into it.
Yeah, that's a fair
I think
amount.
that's why it bothered me so much. I'm just like, I'm putting all this time into it. When is it going to impact
You have to
on
put a
me, right?
lot of time, and I feel like you have to put more time into reload than you would have to in like a portable before. Like I
Really?
think things take a little bit longer to do because of all the
Okay.
like dolling up in the animations and things like that
Yeah.
in a
All the
reload
extra
versus in
flair.
a
Yeah.
in a portable, it's designed for a portable system, so everything's just like zippy and like
Yep.
go 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 go. Whereas this is designed for a
Right.
home console, and so it's like
Hmm.
oh,
That
we
makes
can
sense. Yeah, that makes
drag
more
stuff
sense when you
out.
put it that
And
way. Yeah,
so
for sure. And all the panache, like,
portable is the
oh,
one
the
I
f-
fell in love with. Um, I
yeah, I
still
played a
haven't
lot of
actually
portable.
beat Reload because like I just I had gotten off of doing another playthrough of Portable recently when Reload came out, and so I played through like maybe half of Reload, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just not feeling like playing through this game again. Um,
Yeah, right. Yeah, I will finish it this year. It's probably going to be one of the bigger games I finish this year.
mhm.
Um,
It's a pretty
but
big
yeah,
game, yeah.
that's kind of it. It's a very big game. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Persona 3 Reload. Are you going to finish it, do you think, this year too, or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to. I at
You
least
think
want
so?
to do
Okay.
that episode Aegis. I think I bought it when I was on sale.
I
I
just
boy
bought it actually
I
tonight.
boycotted
So
that DLC until it was on sale because of the
yeah, I
way
got
they
it on sale.
treated. I did the soapbox before about the way they
Uh-huh.
treated that DLC and people who bought the deluxe thinking that they were getting the DLC, and so because
Right,
the game
right.
literally
Yeah.
said they would get the DLC, like the Steam page said they would get the DLC, and then they just were like, no, we're actually not going to give you the DLC. Fun fact.
Psych.
Yeah.
That's the wrong number. Yeah, I just
So and it was overly
yeah,
priced anyways for a DLC, but
yeah, I
that
got it for 25 bucks. It was like what, 40? It was pricey.
something
So
ridiculous. Yeah, and
yeah,
it's not even like an original DLC. It's just a remake of the old
yeah,
DLC that should have been in the base game.
that's Atlas for you. That's Atlas for you right there. That's what Shin Megami Tensei 5 is basically. Is they
Yeah,
repackaged an old game and add shit to it.
yeah,
It's fine. I will play that. I'll even play the Iga stuff because hearing the ending, I didn't expect to, but hearing I was like, oh, okay. Well, I want to see how this goes. That's really
yeah.
interesting. It's an interesting twist on you know
Man, that's
sacrifice,
one
I
of my
guess.
favorite scenes in gaming. Gosh, that ending.
Yeah,
Oh, it's so, 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 so good. That
yeah.
very, very end of that game. My goodness.
Speaking
Prepare
of
to
so so
cry.
so good. Okay, it takes a lot for me to cry in a game, but it happens sometimes, and
Oh, I've
yeah.
been bawling my eyes out on a lot of these social links in
Yeah, I've been crying
metaphors.
metaphor. I
So,
cried at metaphor. Yeah, I cried at metaphor for
oh
sure.
my
There's some,
gosh,
especially the Heisman. The
the
Heisman stuff
Heisme
really
stuff.
got me.
Oh my goodness, holy crap!
Okay,
Like
we got to stop with the
we're not
metaphor
allowed. We're
so
Heisme's
much.
banned. Heisme is banned.
No, don't ban him. Oh no,
But well, you know
can't
what's
ban the man.
unbanned? Concord. We're unbanning Concord.
Later. Hush. Later. We got to get through this podcast. Okay, metaphor's great. Everyone should play it. Persona 3 Reload. We'll get back to it. Let's do a quick TCG check-in. I finished the decks of Mythical Island. You did too, yeah?
Yeah, yep. Just like the
We're talking about, sorry,
68
Pokemon
normal.
TCG Pocket. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Pokemon TCG. Sorry, continue.
yep. The normal like rarity decks. Yeah, like the 68
Yes.
cards. Yeah, yep.
Uh-huh.
Finish
Yeah.
that out.
I finished that up too. I got some extra stuff in there because I was like, I'll open another pack, see if I can get
Yeah,
any rares. I got some pretty good
I've
stuff.
got like the
I
full
do it.
like Celebi package too, so like I can just play the Celebi deck
I
now.
need, I need, I got Celebi EX, but I did not get the cinematic. I need the cinematic.
Oh, I don't really care about like that. Like I have the playable deck, so I'm happy. I have two Celebes. I have like two. I actually have
Yeah,
two full art superiors. I've got two full art
I think I do too.
executors. I've got like
I have one
duplicates of
executor.
every single like of the full art non EX
I
Pokemon.
do, I do too, except for Celebi. I think I only have one Celebi.
I don't
Um,
have and I don't have like duplicates of the EXs like besides
yeah,
Celebi, but I like
yeah.
the non EX full art cards. I have duplicates of like pretty much every single one of those
Oh, okay,
for that
sure.
set.
Yeah,
Yep,
I know what you mean. Yeah,
yep. Like the
yeah,
one
I
gold rarity
like
cards.
Logo rarity. Gotcha. I like the amount of cards that were in that booster pack. It felt very
Hmm.
attainable. I think they should just keep doing that at that clip.
I
They probably won't,
No,
but
I think the next one, from what I've been hearing, I watch a lot of the content creators on that game, and it sounds like
yeah.
the next one is going to be at the end of this month.
Oh,
Um, and it's gonna be
Exciting.
another like 3 packs. Like
Oh wow, really? Oh
yeah,
boy.
like Genetic Apex. So
Oh boy. I need to finish Genetic Apex then, so we can jump into that. Because
I
yeah,
don't
I
think I'm
went
gonna
back
be
to
able to
Genetic
finish
Apex, and
Genetic Apex by then. I'm missing way too many
you think
cards.
so?
Yeah.
I'm missing only six. I only have
Wow.
six left that I need to get. Yeah, I'm only
For just
missing
the
like
original 151, or for like the one like rarity.
just for the just for the two whatever it is, 68 or what, I don't even know. Like
Oh
the
wow,
base.
really?
Yeah. Yeah, I have
Wow.
almost all of them. I do.
Wow.
And at that point I will have the 151. I forget which ones I'm missing. I think I'm missing Pikachu EX. That's one
Really?
of the ones I'm mixing. I never got it. Never got it.
Wow. I've gotten
Yeah,
a ton of those, but that's primarily what I play is Pikachu. So I've
yeah,
pulled mostly on
yeah.
Pikachu.
I played a fair amount of that, and then the mythical island stuff dropped, so I jumped to that, and now I'm coming back to Genetic Apex. So
Yeah.
I'm only missing six. It's like Electros, Charizard, a regular base Charizard, a couple other things. It's definitely doable. I wish that you got more pack points per
Hmm.
open. I wish it was like 10 or something. That would really help. Instead of five,
Yeah,
that really
there's.
sucks.
It's
But
definitely interesting because I've played a lot of these types of online, like TCG clones. For one thing,
uh,
like this is going to be like the only one that I've played that will have trading when they do add
yeah.
trading, because none of those other ones like Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic have trading. But for another
Okay.
thing, this game gives you way more free cards than those games do. Like way more free
Yes.
cards.
Yeah.
Especially Magic. Magic is horrible in its monetization system. Like you barely get any free cards in that one. That one's horrible.
Wow.
Yu-Gi-Oh is pretty good if you can actually like do the events and you know what you're doing. You can build like a decent deck and get your gems basically is what you use to do pulls on that game. And um the crafting system though for cards is really good in that game. I really like that card crafting system, whereas in Pokemon I don't really like that crafting system in Pokemon. Like to get the cards you
Yeah.
need, you really have
Mhm.
to find them in a
Yeah.
Wonder Trade and get the 1 out of 5
Wonder
on the Wonder
trade or
Trade.
the pack point, or
Yeah,
yeah,
like for
it's
a
not an
specific
exact science.
card, like you're gonna have to just get it on a Wonder Trade. Like 9 times out of 10, when I want a specific card, I just hunt for it on
Yeah.
Wonder Trades, just hope and hope
Yeah.
that it shows up on
I
a Wonder
just
Trade.
basically like favorite it, and then I go like, okay, is that here? No, I'll
Yeah,
check whatever it refreshes, or I'll go
yeah.
open a pack, right? Um, but yeah, it's just a little check-in. I'm excited to hear that there's more packs coming this month, like, potentially. That's
Big
exciting,
packs,
especially a big
yeah.
one like that. Yeah, yeah. I saw when I finished the Mew decks, I got the Mew icon.
Yep, I've got it. Yep,
So that was really cool.
yep.
Yeah, that was really cool. I get to stun on some people. I'm like, hey, look at this, and they're like, oh, I
Play
didn't know you could
this,
get
yeah.
that. Yeah, it's really cool. I right now I'm subscribed to the premium pass.
I am too,
I only
yeah.
did it for 1 month. I don't know if I'll keep it or not. It depends. I
I
might put it
like
on
doing
for
the
the new stuff.
polls, so I
I
just keep
do.
it.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you're pulling what, two a day anyway? I mean, they give you a lot of free cards for pretty much nothing if you
Yeah,
decide to do that. So,
yeah.
and if you're doing all the solo missions or against player stuff, the PvP stuff, you're going to get a million
Mm-hmm.
hourglasses. So,
Yep,
it's
yep.
pretty good about rewarding your time
Oh yeah.
invested. I think on the whole, it is not as predatory as it definitely could be,
No.
but the option to spend money is there.
Yeah.
Um, Especially when you
I'm
say that for Magic, like that's insane.
yeah, it's they've done a really good job compared to other ones that I've played. I never played
Yeah.
like the Yu-Gi-Oh equivalent of this game, which would be Rush Duel. I played Master Duel, which is like the full game of
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Right.
Whereas Rush Duel is
Right.
kind of like a format like this, to where it's like a speedier mobile format. But I
Okay.
never played that. But because this isn't a normal Pokemon TCG format either. This is a new format that's a
Yeah.
speedier, mobile friendly sort of format.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Yeah, because you say like Rush, was it Rush Duel instead of
Yeah,
Master Duel? Okay,
yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah,
yeah.
so it's like a
They had the and that might not be what it's called. I might be butchering the name, but they had a Yu-Gi-Oh like mobile app before they had Master Duel. A lot of people played that, but I didn't get into it until Master Duel came out for
okay.
that. It's also on mobile, but it's that it's a game that's better played on PC in my opinion. So
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, because I'm sure it's pretty tactile, so you probably need a mouse. But Yeah, that's just
Yu-Gi-Oh
the
has like a wall of text on every single card in the game. That's how Yu-Gi-Oh
oh,
is. Wall of text on every
oh,
single
so you
card.
need so you need that magnification
You
to
need
kind of
that
look at it. So
magnification of like a computer screen to even read what
yeah,
the
like be
cards
right up
do.
on it.
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see that if you get that much text. But yeah,
it's a
just a
lot of
quick
text.
that was just a quick TCG check, and I'm excited for the new packs
Yeah, I
that if they
love
come. So
the gameplay of Pokemon TCG Pocket though. Like it's just so
yeah, it's really
fun to
fun.
just pull it out when I'm
I've been
bored
battling
and
again.
just do a battle
Yeah,
and
I've been battling again a little bit, and it's been fun to get back into it. So
yeah,
I've really enjoyed it for the 3 or 4 months it's been out. It's been great. It's
yeah.
been great, great
Big
time.
winners right now
Not
are
much.
the Mewtwo deck,
That's a big
the
one.
Gyarados deck, and then the Pikachu deck is still up there. So
Pikachu, yeah, yeah, yeah. Pikachu's pretty
Gyarados
powerful.
is might be the strongest one right now. So
Really
yes,
interesting.
yeah,
Interesting.
Gyarados and
Are
Greninja
what
is really really strong.
are water types still pretty good?
Yeah, in general,
I feel
water
like the
type
blast.
is good. Yeah, Blastoise
I
is
feel like
going
Blastoise
up
stuff.
in like popularity. So
Yeah, yeah. Blastoise is really powerful, especially when you
hmm
add all those extra energy on them. Um, but yeah, yeah. Just a quick check in. When the new cards come out, we'll just these little updates like this, pretty good stuff. I like doing this. We're not going to talk about every pod, but when the big drops happen, we're playing it. We should definitely talk
yeah,
about it. So,
it's fun.
um, yeah, definitely. So, in odds and ends, I didn't really have anything for you down. You mentioned you might be tackling Silent Hill 2 remake, but I didn't know if there's anything else besides Metaphor you've been playing. I don't think so, right?
No, just
Metaphor is pretty all-consuming anyway, so yeah.
yeah, just like Marvel Rivals here and there.
Oh yeah,
Dead by
sorry, I meant to
Daylight.
bring that up. What did you think of the Fantastic Four stuff? I meant to bring that
Yeah,
up before
that
I
it's
moved
not
into
out
this.
yet. It comes out in like a
Yeah.
couple days, I think. But from like
Uh-huh.
the creator like builds that are going around, that like people are
I saw
getting to
those.
play with
Yeah.
these characters already, and
Hmm.
yeah, I think that the new characters are really cool.
Mr. Fantastic seems nuts.
Uh
He seems
huh.
nuts.
Yeah, he's gonna be a good hybrid. He's a hybrid that's a lot better done than like a Wolverine. So
His hitbox is so crazy. Like I
yeah,
don't know how people are going to pin him down.
yeah.
I need to play. I have not played that much Marvel Rivals. I've been seeing a lot of people
I've
play it, but
played a lot of
yeah,
Marvel Rivals. It's a fun,
it's a
fun
good
game.
game.
I
It's a very
had
good game.
I've kind of banned myself from it until that new stuff comes out, so that I can focus
That's
on
funny.
Metaphor.
Yeah,
Because people are always trying
it
to
feels
drag
like
me
a
into
very
that game.
dangerous thing for me too. Where I was like, I need to play some actual video games and not get roped into this because I played a ungodly amount of Overwatch 1,
Yeah,
and this is basically just Overwatch, so I'm a sucker for it, and I
it's
like Marvel
better
to a fair degree.
Overwatch.
So it's tough. I love Overwatch 1. I don't know if anything will reach that height for me. Well, I was playing with people nightly on that game.
Yeah, that's
It
how I
was
am
like
with
Destiny.
Rivals. Yeah,
Yeah, there was a point where I was just playing service games. It was that Destiny and Fortnite, and that was it. Nothing else.
yeah,
Um, and that was a tough period because I felt like I was trying to keep up with the Joneses and all that stuff. And so at some point I was just like, I'm not going to keep up with this stuff anymore. So I just dropped them.
yeah.
Um,
I've
but I played a lot of Overwatch 1. I put like 600 hours into that game. It was insane.
I've been there,
Mostly with
done that
Tracer.
with
But
service games. My service games were uh, Dead by Daylight and
yeah, right.
Final Fantasy 14. Played a lot of that, and
That is a good game though. I like that game. It feels like I mean it's an MMO, but it feels like single player for a lot of it.
yeah, it
So
is. A lot of it is single
yeah.
player. So
I like I have really held off on play 14 because when I finally build this stinking PC, I'm actually going to play it on there because I feel like on console it's not as
yeah,
optimized
for
as I
sure.
would want. So I'm really holding off on it because I'm like I will play so much of this game.
I
I just want to have a proper way to do it. So
Yeah, I definitely play it with you if you got into it, but I
I will
guess
play it
that's
with you.
something
Dude,
that's
we will
like
play it. Yeah, yeah.
I need to go back and I need to finish that story. I'm like halfway through the story. I just did like the Stormblood stuff, so
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, I'm
I hear that
pretty far into
Shadowbringer
it.
is the best one. That's what I hear. I hear
I've heard
Shadowbringer is
that.
the best.
I've always heard that Heaven's Ward was the best, and I
Oh, Heaven's
absolutely
Word. Okay,
adore
sure.
Heaven's Ward. Heaven's Ward was so good. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, what a great story! Easily one of the best
You
Final
sh-
Fantasy stories out there. Like, oh my
you
goodness.
should
I don't
play
even like
Final
Final Fantasy.
Fantasies. You should play Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's
Oh
what you should play.
gosh. Oh
They're
gosh.
so good though.
I
No, they're good.
tried to
They're
get
good.
into Remake. I tried to get into it. I got like a few hours into it, and I'm like, oh
So
my
good.
gosh.
Listen, man,
Why
I
does everyone
platinumed
look like
that
they're
game last
using
year.
L'Oreal in their hair? Like,
They are glamorous. What do you want to say? I platinumed that game last year. It is
yeah.
one of the best things I've ever done in a video game. Like that boss rush at the end of like my trophy journey, it was insane, dude. Like I was fighting, it was a boss rush of 5 bosses that are the toughest enemies in the game, and there's one boss that is unique to this combat challenge, and you can't get the platinum until you defeat it, and you have to do each boss fight in a row with minimal health restore and MP regain. It was insane. It took me 20 hours just to do the final hardest difficulty against Bahamut Zero. It was so hard, dude. I can't tell you how hard it was. I was optimizing builds, materia, party members, weapons. I was playing the game multiple times to get better stuff. It was insane,
Yeah.
but I loved it. I love remake. And I wasn't like that at the beginning of the year because I was basically I had a time with Final Fantasy VII where I played through parts of the original. I played through all of remake once and I liked it fine. And then I played Rebirth and watched the movie. And I was like, okay, I feel like I'm Final Fantasy VII out. But after Rebirth, I went back to Final Fantasy VII Remake and platinumed it. I didn't expect to do that, and I love that game even more.
yeah.
Um, and it's just, man, like if you really want to get to a nitty gritty combat system, Final Fantasy VII Remake has maybe the best action combat system of any game. It is so good.
Huh.
It is so good. I cannot tell you how good it is. It is the perfect balance between turn based and real time. It is
Yeah,
beautiful
I
stuff.
didn't.
It's so fun.
I couldn't
So
really
fun.
get
The
into that
stagger.
combat
Oh,
system from like the first few hours of the game, but maybe I just didn't give it enough
yeah,
time.
it takes a while to do. And
Yeah,
by the time I was done with platinuming, I put like 92 hours into remake
sure.
on
Yeah.
PS5. Um,
I
but it was so good, so rewarding,
The
so
last
rewarding.
RPG combat system that I really, really, really liked was Octopath Traveler. Like, I adore that combat
That's on my
system.
docket. I'm going to be playing this very
What
soon.
a good
Honestly,
combat system.
after I finish Final Fantasy, I have Octopath on my PlayStation. I think I would play that in tandem with a couple other things.
Yeah.
I'm really considering jumping into Octopath as a backlog thing
Play that first one
after Game of the
first,
Year.
because it's
I
completely
have
different
one
from that
and two.
second
I have
one,
one
yeah.
and two. Yep, I have one and two. I hear two is really good, but
Yeah,
I hear
both
one
are
is
good.
excellent.
I
So
love one, though. One is like, oh my
yeah,
goodness. It's...
I have one. I've been eyeing it. I've been going like when I'm finished with Final Fantasy, I'm
Now,
probably going to play you.
don't
So
expect it to be a game about party member interaction. That's not what the game's about. There's not a whole lot of party member
systems, yeah,
interaction. It's a
yeah.
game about the individual stories of each party member. That's really what the game
I like
is
that
about.
though. I like
Yeah.
that. That's
A
interesting.
lot
I
of
like that
people
angle.
had like complaints because it may have a little bit marketed itself as like a party interaction game, but that's not what it is. It's just not that, and that's
You
okay
end
for
up
me.
having a certain party by the end, but they're not like cohesive like that,
They're
right?
not a
They are a merry,
cohesive like
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
They're
They're a merry band, but
individuals that
they're
are
yeah,
working together to do things for themselves. Like,
sure, yeah.
yeah.
As long as their aims line up, then we're gonna party up. Yeah, I
Yes.
like that. That's cool. That's an interesting
Yes.
angle because everything that when it's JRPG, be it tactical or turn based, whatever, everyone needs to be buddy buddy and know each other and hang out with
Yeah.
each other. But like that's fine. I think that angle is really cool where everyone's kind of mercenary. That's a cool angle
Yeah.
to have.
They talk to each other once like each chapter of the game. Like once each chapter of the game, like
Okay,
two party members will talk to each other in a little dialogue that's completely
interesting.
missable, that you have to like press a
Yeah.
button on your controller to even see the dialogue. Otherwise it's completely missable. And it's like a random chance of which, party members from your group will talk to the party
Oh,
member
really?
whose chapter you're doing. And so yeah, it's like all these like
Crazy.
it's just like a random one-off thing whenever they do talk to each other, but otherwise they are doing their own thing. Every character's doing their own thing, but those stories that they
Yeah.
tell in Octopath Traveler, Niagara Falls, like, oh my
Okay.
goodness, I bawl my eyes out for some of those.
So
They're
exciting.
so good.
So my
I
big
adore
my
that
big
game.
goal this year is playing. This is going to be
Second
my
one's really good
RPG
too,
year.
but that first one is just
Second one,
phenomenal.
yeah, yeah. This is going to be my RPG year. This is the game where I'm going to play a lot of story heavy stuff, a lot of RPG stuff. I want to build a definitive list of like my favorite characters in an RPG.
Yeah.
And Octopath is there. I'm playing through the Final Fantasy games. I'm going to play through Pokemon Red is or Red and Blue. I'm going to really kick that off once I'm done with Final Fantasy, and I'll play a little bit of Octopath on the side. I'm going to have like a portable game and then a console game, and Pokemon's going to be that for me, so we can do our deck stuff
Yeah.
right at the beginning of the year. But yeah, Octopath is on my list. I am literally looking at it right now.
Yeah.
I will play that
I
when I get
adore
back
that
from
game so
vacation, probably.
much. You got to tell
Yeah.
me who you choose as your starting character too,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
that's a
I
really
listen, dude.
important. I
It, yeah.
yeah. I don't even want to tell you who I chose so that I don't influence you.
Okay.
I don't want to influence you.
Okay.
I know which are my
Okay.
favorites, and I know which ones I love to start as in that game, but I'm not even gonna tell you. I adore that
Because
game
you end up
so
playing
much.
as all of them at some point,
You
right?
do, yes, you do. But
Okay. Okay.
it's a
Gotcha. So
journey
I won't miss
to
it.
go around. You have to go around and collect the other characters like their Pokemon. You
Right.
gotta.
And that's yeah. I played a fair amount of two because they had a hefty demo. I was like, this is
Yes,
cool.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
It's
started
such a
with like
cool
the
system. Oh my goodness.
I started with the guy that was like the librarian or whatever, the teacher. He was cool into,
Hmm.
and he's like ended up in prison or something. That
Oh
was a
yes,
cool.
I did too.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. He's my
yeah,
favorite in
yeah.
two. Yeah, he's my favorite character
Okay,
in
yeah.
two. Yeah,
And
this
when I play two
scholar.
again, I'll
Yeah.
probably start as him again because his story was really interesting.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
never got around to completing two, but his story was one of the stories that I did end up completing because I absolutely adored his story. Um,
yeah. Maybe, yeah, maybe. Yeah, honestly, maybe that's something we do is we play through two together. I think that'd be awesome. I think
yeah,
that'd be really
I
cool.
wouldn't mind
Yeah,
starting over on that game because I don't
because you
remember
played
where I
Octopath,
was.
I can kind of yeah, I can talk to you
Oh,
about
I've
Octopath
played
as I play it.
Octopath 1 a lot. I've played like two or three
Yeah,
playthroughs of that game.
really.
I
Wow.
adore that
I
game.
didn't know you love that game so much.
That's my RPG. Like that's my
Wow.
RPG. I love that
It's
game.
also gorgeous. Oh my
I
God,
know.
it's so gorgeous,
I know.
dude.
I see
Such a good looking
these and
game.
I see like these content creators like absolutely bash the game and like they don't understand the game. They're like, "Oh, they don't talk to each other." They're not supposed to talk to each other. It's about
Yeah.
8 separate stories. That's like saying the characters in Live Alive don't talk to each other enough. It's like they're
Right.
separate
They're all like
stories. It's a separate
vignettes.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all like their own vignettes and they dovetail in the story parts, but they don't. The concern is the each of the individual stories, which is cool because like you spend time with each character and by the end of the game you get to know them. You
Yes.
know, that's one thing I wish that more RPGs would do is spend time one to one with
Yes.
the characters instead
Yes.
of just saying like I'm part of this party. You got to find out about me while we're on a group date or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting stuff. But I will play Octopath Traveler this year. I have a list of
I
stuff I'm
love
going
that
down,
game so
and
much.
that is on the top of it. I promise.
Yeah.
So we will talk about that. Have you played Triangle Strategy? I have not. That's
No,
another game
I
from
don't
Square Enix. I
I
heard it was good.
don't I'm not a fan of tactics games, okay?
Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is a
Yeah.
grid based. Yeah,
I'm
I
not a
love those
grid
games
based
though.
I'm not a grid based
Oh, I am.
tactics
I love it.
game
I love
guy.
it. I like it better than turn based. Yeah.
I like my squares to be 2D and flat, like in Fire Emblem. Then I can stand
Yeah.
it. But if they try and go like
Right.
3D, like a Disgaea or a Final Fantasy Tactics
Oh,
or
okay.
a
Yeah, like the oh
Triangle
Final Fantasy
Strategy,
Tactics. Don't say
no,
this about Final
it's
Fantasy
not
Tactics.
for me. It's just not for me. I
Oh,
could not get
Tactics
into it.
Advance is one of the greatest games ever
Could
made, dude.
not get
Tactics
into it.
original Tactics. Oh,
I don't even like
oh my
that
god.
world that much. It just seemed very like bland,
Stop. Stop.
bland European
Evilise is the
fantasy.
best.
Oh my
Evilise is
goodness.
the best. It's not. It's not.
It's like one of the
Those
worst
Moogles.
Final Fantasy settings I think I've ever
Oh
seen.
no. Oh, don't
I've
do
seen a lot
this.
of them.
Don't do this.
I'm
Final Fantasy
just
12
that's
takes place
just
in Evilise as
I
well.
know it. That's probably like the worst one.
Okay, we're not talking about this anymore because you're making me angry. I will die on this hill. I love
I
Final
don't
Fantasy
like that
Tactics.
world. I'm sorry. I just don't think it's interesting at all.
Keep it to yourself, all right? Anyway, this was about Marvel Rivals. He had to come for my Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. How dare you?
Yeah, I know
Um,
Marvel Rivals. I don't know how we got to there, but yeah, Marvel
anyway,
Rivals is it's
yeah,
pretty good.
quick check in.
Yeah,
Fantastic Four
they've got
stuff.
the season 1 coming out, so they're gonna they're shaking up the meta. They're doing
Yeah,
like changes to characters buffs and debuffs, like any other game, and then they're also the unique thing about this game though. They have season boosts for certain
I
characters,
heard
right?
that. Yeah, I
And
think you might have
the
told me this
yeah,
actually.
I might have talked about it before, but they're going to change those season boosts just as soon as this new season drops. Like that's what I'd expect, right? Because they haven't
Right,
announced what those are going to be, but I'd assume that most of those are going to change out, if not all of them, and then there's going to be new
right.
character synergies. So that would be really interesting to see.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I will play more of it, but it's going to be RPG land for me for most of the year. So
Hmm.
Octopath is on the brain for sure, especially
Yeah,
since you love it. So,
yeah.
um,
I think I like it even better than like a Bravely Default, which Bravely Default was like the first
wow, that is man, that is
yeah,
crazy high praise.
because that
My
was like
goodness.
Bravely Default was like the first like JRPG I
Yeah.
really got into.
Oh, I
So,
remember. You were so into that game. You played
mhm.
so much of
Oh, I
that game.
adore that game too. But like
Yeah.
Octopath is just like the writing and like the art style and like
Yeah.
the like everything about Octopath is just a better Bravely. I think I really do.
Yeah. So on the RPG tip, and I kind of want to talk about this earlier. It was, or I brought it up earlier anyway. Was I'm playing through the original Final Fantasy. I have the Pixel remasters, 1 through 6 are the Pixel remasters, and people were worried they were going to be the phone ports of these games, where the font's all jacked up and they smooth out the pixels.
Mm.
They did not do this in this.
Okay.
They actually did a good job. The fonts are great. The reorchestration of the music is amazing,
Hmm.
so good. Um, Final Fantasy One soundtrack is like in my head forever now. Like I just, it has the right amount of songs that loop perfectly, and you just, oh, it's so great. It's not a long game. Like I'm
Hmm.
playing it with the guide because it's not
Yeah,
very
that's how you play
self-explanatory.
those games. Yeah.
Yeah, basically up until like 6, I'll probably play a guide with because most of those games are like, I don't know, figure it out, man. You bought this
Yep.
game, go play it, right?
Yep.
But like 6 is pretty story guided, so it would probably tell you where to go.
Okay.
Um, but 1 through 4 or even 5, you kind of need a guide to kind of
Hmm.
walk through it, especially one where they don't tell you anything. Like
Yeah.
you finish a boss and they're just like, all right,
Yeah.
walk around. And I'm just like,
Not to
I don't know where to go. So
not to like steal your pacing, but I had a similar
no,
thing when I
please.
played through Fantasy Star, the original Fantasy Star
Yeah,
recently,
sure,
and I was
sure. You
trying
gotta
to
have a
play that without
walkthrough.
a guide, and I'm like, I have no
Can't do it.
idea what's going on. I have no idea
Yeah.
what I'm doing. I don't even have a manual for this game, like they
Well, that's what it
expect you to
was. I
have.
mean, the manual was not. It doesn't show you where to go everywhere, but it gives you hints, and it had actual like those games had manuals in them because the game was teaching you how to play it,
Yeah,
and it'll go like, listen, you should go talk to people, you should go walk around, you should go do this and that, bang your head against this certain way, right? But these
yeah.
games don't have that
They're
anymore.
so
Like
so
like
cryptic of games. Like they
they're so
are.
cryptic,
Yeah.
and it sucks because like they're available to be played. They expect you to play them, but there's no like easy way to do it, and they don't want to remake them because they're hollowed games. Like people love these games,
Hmm.
so like touching them with a great degree of tutorial oversight,
Yeah.
people aren't going to be happy about that. So the happy medium is just pulling out a walkthrough, and that's kind of what I did.
Yeah.
It's not
I
a
did
long
that
game.
with
It's
Fantasy
like
Star One.
yeah, totally, and it's great, and I'm really enjoying playing it with a walkthrough.
Yeah.
Like actually playing it like is still fun.
Yeah.
I like the party composition's fun. Or I apparently have one of the worst parties you could have, which sucks because they don't tell they tell you basically
Which
not to
one's
take a
the one
red
that like
mage.
does nothing? Is it like the monk that does like nothing?
Yeah, dude, I have the monk and I screwed up. The monk does nothing. Like it's bad. I'm on chaos, the final boss, and he's hitting like for 5 damage. I'm like, I'm going to die. I'm going to actually drink
I
bleach
love that. I
because of this
love
monk.
that so much. I love it when a class
So
just does nothing. It's so great.
yeah, and listen, I didn't know that when I played this. I'm like, he looks cool.
I know
I
that, and
didn't read a
I haven't
manual.
even played that much of it. I just know it
Yeah,
from like people
yeah, I
talking
didn't know
about the
this.
game. Yeah.
I had no idea. And then I played through this whole game. I'm like, he's not really getting that strong. And then you do a bunch of not a bunch. You do like a small side quest to get like this item to give to Bahamut, who is a summon in other
Yeah.
Final Fantasy games, this Drakengard, and he like basically gives you a class up system where you're
Hmm.
becoming a second version of your
So you can
class,
upgrade your
and
monk.
the monk just becomes the monk becomes master, and he still does nothing. I'm like, what are we doing? Like he's still punching. He's got nunchucks, and they're hitting for 10 damage now. Like what? This is not playable, right?
No.
So what I did was I played through up until the final dungeon, got him the best sword in the game, and he's hitting for 200 damage now.
Let's
Better, I
go.
guess.
He does a
Yeah,
little bit of
better.
damage now.
Not just that though. I screwed up and I didn't pick a white mage. I picked a red mage, which also doesn't do very much. So
Oh
I'm like, my
no.
party comp is pretty busted aside from my black mage and my warrior. So I have two of my four party members hit like limp noodles, and the other two guys are like, "Gosh, we need you guys to clock in and
Yeah,
actually do
like
your job."
yeah. If you have
Yeah,
the warrior class, that's a really good class. If you have the black mage class,
yeah.
that's a really good class. But
Black mage is great. I've been taking everything with black mage.
yeah, red
And
mage
red mage can do some
terrible,
stuff, but yeah, the red
and
mage can do some stuff, but it's not as powerful as if I were to get a white mage to do
like
the
a
same
normal
things,
person,
right?
yeah. Normal person would
I
have
know.
a warrior, a thief, a white mage, and a black
See,
mage.
I know this. I know this now. But
Yeah.
I'm 11 hours into this game, and
You
I'm at the
just
end of the
you just
game.
ignore the monk class, ignore the red mage class.
But
You
I
don't need them.
didn't know this. I didn't know this, and I'm at the end of this game, and I'm at a weird crossroads with it, where I'm like, I am literally on the
Just
final boss,
just do it.
and
Just
he is. But listen, I'm trying my best. I'm like
get
at
good.
level, like I can do it. I'm like level 42 or whatever it is, because I had to go back because
Yeah.
I locked myself in the boss fight at level 50, and I couldn't get out and grind
Oh.
because I didn't have a spell that was exit to exit a dungeon.
Uh-huh.
Because what this game does is it basically takes you back in time with the final boss, like
You
2,000
can
years
make
in the past, and
multiple
then
save points, right?
yes, you can. But I was already in the boss room and I had no idea.
Yeah,
I
like
had no
multiple.
idea. I'm
You
just
have
playing this
multiple
game.
save files, though, right?
I did know. Yeah, listen, I did, which was great. But it was
Okay.
about an hour before,
Huh.
and I was like, oh, I hate to be going
That's
an hour
fair. That's
before and
fair. That's
doing this.
fair. That
But it
does
wasn't
suck.
that bad.
Yeah.
I wasn't
I've had
that
to do
bad. The
that
only
with a
things
lot of RPGs before, so.
I'm glad I had an extra save. I had only one other save because I am so bad about just saving over the same things. But I figured for this game it didn't matter.
Oh.
Like it just didn't matter. Like
If.
okay, I always have two saves at least, and that's kind of why I was okay. In Metaphor, I had like 30,000 of them. Right?
Yeah, that's
It's
what you're
not in every
supposed to
single
do in
game.
an RPG.
I was reading that this game was easy, right? And it's super easy until you get to the end. That's
Yeah.
just the truth. Final Fantasy One is a very easy video game for if you know exactly what you're doing, and I did,
Yeah.
except for party comp. And then I was just like, well, I guess it's not the worst thing in the world because I can beat this game, right? Nope. Chaos is clapping my cheeks. Like I am just being
You
thrown like
gotta.
spaghetti against the wall.
You've gotta kill chaos.
We've got to kill chaos. Which actually reminds me, I bought that Final Fantasy
Oh
whatever. What
no,
was that
not
one?
Strangers of
I
Paradise.
I did buy Stranger
No.
Paradise.
You
I
gotta
have to know the
kill
story of Garland,
chaos.
Noah. I got to know about
You
Garland.
gotta kill chaos.
I'm gonna kill chaos.
No,
I got to know about
it's
Garland.
so
It's just
interesting, yeah, because like Garland is it's like a big thing in like 14 as well. So
yeah, but like he's so not anything in the first one. He's just a guy in a suit of armor. Like he's like
it's so
I
funny.
took over the world, and you're just like cool piece of armor. But
Good job.
what's your deal? They don't even get into any of it. So
It's so
the game has
funny how that game is basically just freaking Gaudia Quest from Retro Game Challenge. So like I've
yeah.
technically played that game because I played Gaudia Quest so many times
I'm
in
sure you
Retro
have.
Game
It's very like
Challenge.
first.
Gaudia Quest
It's
just
very
kind of
first.
like yeah, they kind of just
Yeah,
copied that game. So
it's very first
story.
RPG ever made. It feels
Yeah.
very like
Gaudia
Dragon
Quest is
Questy that
funny
way.
because you go down to hell, and you kill Satan, and then
Okay.
that doesn't solve the problem. So you go up to heaven and you kill like God, and then that
Oh boy.
doesn't solve the problem. So you go down to hell again and you kill Lucifer. He's different from Satan, and then that doesn't solve your problem. So you go back up to heaven, and then you kill God, and that doesn't solve your issues. So then you go back to the main area, and then you find out that it was the king who was the bad guy this whole time. So then you kill the
Ooh.
king, and then
Oh boy.
you win. It's a very deep
See,
emotional story in Gaudia Quest.
no, you don't get it, man. It wasn't about we were the real monsters, man. Have you
The
seen The
real
Walking Dead? We're the monster.
the
Yeah.
real crux of that game though is the way you do the like um, secret staircase to in Timbuktu to go to the credits like instantly. That's the best part of that game. Skipping the game is the best
Timbuktu.
part of the game.
Oh boy. Take me back to Timbuktu.
That's the real
Anyway,
name of the town, Timbuktu.
crazy. I I like Final Fantasy 1. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's not very balanced. The half the classes suck, but you know, it's
They,
been a really good time. It's nice to like fill this void of like playing the original and going, I finished this now, I'm
yeah.
almost there. I'm gonna
Yeah.
just grind. Now that I
Yeah.
have the exit spell,
Yeah.
I'm gonna grind and just
Yeah.
get to like level
Do
99 and
it.
just destroy it.
Do it.
Yeah. And the only thing I have it's an easy platinum too. The only things I have left to do are to fill out the bestiary, which is just fight one of everything. And then just basically beat the game. And then I have
Yeah.
every trophy, so I platinum it.
I do they
It's really
still
easy to
have
do, but
that bugged tile that's like you can encounter like monsters that are way too high for your level like early in the game? Or at
I
least
never
maybe you didn't
encountered that.
encounter that and okay, probably
I
not in
heard
normal
about it.
gameplay, yeah.
Yeah, I was never. They have encounter on, encounter off switch you can
Oh,
hit,
sure.
which is nice to kind of
Yeah.
navigate. So
That's
I
what
never hit that really.
yeah,
Yeah,
Bravely Default has something like that where you can just turn counters on and off. So it's
I
pretty
really like
nice.
that. I like that because I don't hate random battles, but if it's constant, that's my problem with the old Pokemon games is it just
Yeah.
restricts movement at some point. You're
Octopath
just like,
does
ugh,
that with class with its job system. You can equip
okay,
certain
that's cool.
jobs
Yeah,
and items to like
yeah.
turn
Having a
off
toggle's
enemy
good though.
encounters. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like having that toggle to be able to go like, I just want to get to open this door, like quit harassing me,
Yeah.
which is fine. It actually works out just totally
But
fine.
those
But
old Pokemon games have like the repel system and stuff once you get to
yeah,
like
but that's an
past
item. It's not
the
something.
early game.
Yeah, it's not a button though. Is my point. So
Mm-hmm.
all the Final Fantasy games have like a not a like a quality of life button where it's
Yeah.
like in
That's
Final Fantasy
nice.
7, like in the PS4 versions, like you get ultimates forever, like your summons
Oh really?
forever.
They have a
You have
button for
full
that?
level. I mean, they have a button for that. They have a
They
fast
don't have
forward
that
button, like run
on
faster.
the PlayStation 1 version. They don't have that.
Oh well, yeah, you got to play that game just start to finish, slow as heck,
Raw. Yeah.
at 20 frames a second, all crunchy.
I've been
Um,
trying. Don't worry, I've been trying.
yeah, I don't just don't play that version. Play the Steam version or the PC version with the mods
No,
where
but I
they
have
make
to
the.
play it on my precious PlayStation 1.
You don't though. You really don't. It's not a great way to play that game anymore. The PS4 version is actually a really great way to do it. And the translation for the original is so busted, dude.
It's
Like
such
you're
a
not gonna
bad
get some of it.
translation. They don't
It's
even
so
call her
bad.
Aerith.
They
It's
fixed
Eris.
it's Eris and it's horrible. Like they
Oh.
decided to plant their flag after the game came out. And I'm like, oh, this is horrible. It's just horrible.
It's such a bad
Because
translation.
people were saying Aerith anyway. Um,
Yeah.
because of that. And then people were like, okay, we're just going to change it to Aerith Canon. Um, yeah. Don't play that version, man. Like it's a good game. Don't get me wrong on
I'm
that.
still
But
only
like
on disc 1 on it, somehow.
the translation is so bad.
I don't know
Just
how
play the
long disc 1
PS4.
is, but it feels like it's gone on way too long.
The re-release is so much better and it fixes a lot of things and you'll enjoy it a lot more, I think. I really think you'll enjoy it a lot more. Because it's not a slog. Like the original's a slog, playing it that way. Um, but yeah, finishing the original Final Fantasy, jumping to a couple RPGs after that. But I'm really enjoying it. I
Yeah.
will kill chaos at
I
some point.
I
So
love like the very very retro RPGs like that though
yeah,
because I like Gaudia Quest was like the first like actual like RPG like thing that I think I played.
right.
So in retro game
Are you
challenge,
gonna play
so
Dragon Quest? Are you gonna play Dragon Quest 3 or no? Are you gonna play that?
maybe I don't know. I don't know anything
I think you'd
about
like that.
Dragon Quest. I probably would. I like I said I so yeah. So I tried to play Final Fantasy 1 couple times and like I tried those GBA versions of it and
Yeah,
just couldn't
yeah.
really get into it. Maybe the Pixel remake would be better.
That's
So
probably the best way to do it. Yeah.
I do like the idea and the aesthetic of those old ones. But I might like the retro graphics better. I don't know. I don't know. But
So it's different. So with a lot of these old Final Fantasy games, they have either remade them once or they have altered them. So they don't even look like the originals. They look more like the PlayStation 1 version,
hmm,
where they didn't upres it. They basically changed the graphics.
hmm,
Um, but there's also like PSP games where they remade them, like one, two, and three, I want to say,
hmm.
or they made them for the phones. Like they remade those games for phones,
I knew they did that.
like for
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so there's different options to play. I think the best way to do is the pixel remaster. I think that's what Square would want you to do too, because they reorchestrated it. It looks like that retro feel that you like,
Okay.
and they're all not that long to
Yeah.
to play or even finish. So
I
I think yeah, they're always on sale too. The pixel remaster as a bundle. It's honestly a good deal if you were to just buy all six.
yeah. I played through that original Fantasy Star not too long ago on the
Yeah, is
Wii
that good?
Virtual
Yeah,
Console.
yeah,
It's a Master System game, so like the one before the
right,
Genesis, and
right.
but
Yep, Master System.
it's pretty good. I liked it. I liked it. I played through it with a
Yeah.
guide. It doesn't have like any sort of complicated RPG mechanics. It's just a
Yeah.
straight up RPG. You just do the equipments, do the leveling. And the beginning of it's really archaic and really weird to like figure out what you're
I have
doing
started the
unless
beginning
you use a guide.
of that game so many times. Yeah.
Of Phantasy Star
Yeah.
1, it's a really
Uh-huh.
weird start. The
It's
opening
tough.
cutscene's
It's
cool,
tough.
but
It is very cool. I was
it's a
surprised
really
for a Master System game.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
the female like protagonist like that early into gaming, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a
Yeah.
damsel in distress like protagonist. It's like, no, this she's like your hero character.
Yeah. Yeah, she's basically she's the Samus. She's the woman no one expected. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah,
I
but
like that.
everyone expected her though,
I
because
like that.
like right at the beginning, she's a woman. So
Yeah, yeah. It's really cool.
yeah,
I want to play through all the Fantasy Star games too because there's only four of them, like for the mainline stuff.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not even talking about
You don't have to
Fantasy
mess
Star
with
Online.
any of the online stuff. Trust me.
No,
Don't
I'm
even mess
not
with it.
even interested.
But the
I do
original
not
like
even care.
series, yeah, I've played entirety of one. I had the similar thing where I got to like some of the final fights and I had to do a little bit of grinding in order to get
Yeah.
to where I was like comfortable. I wasn't able to have my huge list of save files like I like to have, so
You like
I
those? Yeah.
I just had like my one like Wii suspend point that was like my crutch in case if
Hmm.
like I was like, yeah, I'm going into a place where I'm not going to be able to level up anymore. I better have this suspend point, and I used that a couple
Sure.
times. But yeah, no, it was a good experience. I really liked that. The just like the graphics of the game and like the world of the game. It's got a really interesting story for a freaking Master System game. Like that
Yeah.
might be the best game on the Master System. So.
Because four was on Genesis, right? People
Every
think four is
single
the best
other
one.
game besides the first one was on Genesis.
Yeah, people consider four to be the best
Y-
one in the series too.
They
So
do, yeah, they do
it's so
consider
funny. I
four
was
to be the
actually
best
listening
one.
to a podcast about this when someone was talking about Fantasy Star, where they what was it? Sega did not want to release it in the States for some reason.
Hmm.
Um, and they basically were just like, well, we'll only put it out if they get if it if someone wants to localize it. And then one famous localizer localized it, and they put it out here, and it sold like hotcakes. And they're
Yeah,
like, oh, okay, I guess people do like Fantasy Star, especially four, and it's one of the best selling games on the console. Um, it'd just be interesting if they ever went back to it with like a Fantasy Star 5. Like, would they ever do a Fantasy Star 5? I wonder if they would.
it's a
Probably
dead
not. I think that'd be
series.
awesome if they did.
It's a
It'd be
dead
so cool if
series.
they
Let
did.
sleeping dogs lie. I don't know.
Yeah, that it is. It is and it isn't because of the PSO2 stuff still being relevant. Um, I
I
just
wouldn't.
don't. Yeah,
I wouldn't like to see that. I think that series just needs to be
It depends on okay, it depends on what the proof of concept would be. Would it be something interesting? I don't know.
Yeah,
Like, is it just a bunch of crap that they're putting out? Is it a Sonic 4? You know what I mean? Like, is it just this random low effort
we
crap?
don't talk about Sonic
Um,
4. Sonic 4 never happened.
listen, listen. Every game is a special baby to somebody.
Oh no, not that one. That one can go out to pasture.
uh, that one, oh, throw that baby out with the bathwater. He says.
Now, Bubsy 3D, that's a good game. Sonic
All right,
4,
moving on.
bad
I
game.
played Drakengard 3 a little bit,
Okay,
and I
okay.
have thoughts. I have thoughts about this
How
game.
far did you get?
An hour and a half in. Um, I will play more of it. I don't know when I will get to it. I moved to my PS3 downstairs, in my basement. I'm kind of trying to make that my man cave and put a lot of cool stuff in it, like Budweiser ladies. No, I just all my retro stuff's down there. So I
Fancy.
have just a little 1080p TV, like a 35 inch.
Gotta
It's not
get
that big.
yourself one of those.
Um, yeah, I know. I need a CRT. That'd be great. But for PS3 stuff, it has HDMI. I hook up, so I use
Yeah.
that. Excuse me. I mean, it has RGB capability. I'm able to do it. Or sorry, AV capability.
Yeah.
I can do that, but I'm just like, eh.
I didn't play it
HDMI is so easy. You
on
just
that,
plug it up.
but
Yeah. Um, but I played it. I think that game has one of the coolest cinematic cutscenes I've seen in almost any game. I think that CG cutscene is so mind-blowingly good looking still. I was shocked. I was like,
are you talking about like the
this
opening?
is
Like
the opening cinematic for Drakengard 3 is so awesome, dude.
the way
It is
that
so
they
awesome.
the way
I
that
was
they
so hyped
open
up.
up the dang game, like when you first
I
launch it, the
know.
very first line you hear, you know what
Yep.
you're getting into with this game.
Totally, yeah. And I think her stabbing the
Zero,
narrator in
I
the
need a
cinematic is
pee.
hilarious.
Yeah.
The cinematic where she's stabbing the
Yep.
narrator is
Yep. Yep.
so freaking funny to me. I was just like, okay, what is this game doing?
Yeah.
Like immediately.
Yeah. That's the
And
entire
I think
game.
that's
You're gonna question
interesting.
yourself the entire game. What is this game doing? That is
That's
exactly the entire
that's
game.
yeah. That's why we'll come back to it. I will play more of it, but I gotta say, all right, and leaving that aside, it's a cool cinematic.
Right.
This game plays like so much ass. I can't, dude. I know you're going to try to sell me on it a little bit more. I understand this.
You get used to
About
it.
playing this game is. I know. You said this, but
And
like,
then you just start to like
everything.
it. It's like Stockholm Syndrome.
No.
You start to like it.
Oh, that's not a good thing. Stockholm syndrome is not a good thing. That's
Well, I
not
know Stockholm
fucking-
Syndrome isn't a good thing. I know that's a discredited thing. That I was a psychology major in college. I know that it's not a real thing, but that doesn't mean that.
You fell into the trap. You should know better than I. You went to college for Pete's sake, and you're still like, yeah, good game.
But no, it's
I did not go to college, and I know Stockholm Syndrome is bad.
Yeah.
You're playing Drakengard going like, game
Yeah.
bad, but it get good.
well, yeah. Okay. The gameplay gets a little bit better, but not by
Oh.
much. Not by much.
Ah.
But
Oh, I got so much to look forward to.
but hang on.
Oh god. Oh god. Oh
But
god.
the story is
I hate
just
this.
mind-bogglingly like
Is it worth trudging
Yes.
through the
Yes.
mess that is?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
Oh,
fine. You'll be
okay.
fine.
I will play. All right. I will play
You'll be
more.
fine.
I have a pretty high tolerance for bull crap in games. I do.
It's not really a bullcrappy game. Like it doesn't really like do.
That's not what I heard. You said that final boss
Well-
was not fun.
We don't talk about the final boss. We don't.
What? That's part of the game, though. That's the end of the game. That's a pretty important part, I would say.
I highly doubt you're
I
going
will
to complete
say-
that final boss. I will say that much because I haven't completed that
Okay.
final boss. I don't have any plans to complete that final boss.
Well,
I'm done
we all
with
know
that
you're better
final
at
boss.
You're all better at video games than me, anyway. We know this. This has been established. Noah is just about. He literally, straight up, during my quote bachelor party, he beat me one-handed playing Smash Brothers.
Oh,
and
did
it
I
was
really?
Very disrespect. It was no, sorry, Nidhogg. It was
Oh,
disrespectful what
Nidhogg,
you did to
Nidhogg,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, he literally beat me with a piece of za in his hand, chomping
I
down
probably did. That sounds like something I would
with one
do
ungreased hand.
just to be
He
funny.
completely waxed me, and he
I
was like, "I don't
I've
know
done
how I
like
did it."
this thing before, so I was probably doing
Yeah,
this thing with the controls.
I was
Like,
just like, he's for the listener, he's waggling his fingers back and forth. He did this, yes, and I've never been so humiliated in my own house. It was tough. Anyway, I invited that guy to the party. It was my fault ultimately. um, but anyway, I will play more Drakengard 3. I really wanted to bring it up because I was trying to put it on the dang system, okay?
yeah,
I'm gonna rant a little bit. The PS3 storage system and how it surfaces it is so bad.
it's so
It's
bad.
horrible. You have to go to the system settings to even see a representation of it in a number form. It's like this is how much storage you have left. There's no like storage part of the menu. Like you have to
Yeah,
go to the system information.
the
That makes
PS3
no
was like
sense.
the very first modern console, right? Like that's like
Uh,
started out the modern era.
I mean, no, the 360 came out a year before it had this. It
Did
just
it
doesn't make
really? Okay.
sense. Yes, it came out in '06. The PS3 came out in '07. Why the heck? Or sorry, it came out in '05, right? I think it was '05. 360 was '05. I think PS3 was. Anyway,
Is
it's one
360
of those
that
years.
old? Wow, that's crazy.
360 came out a year before PS3, no matter what. I think it was either 6 or 7, whatever. Um, But anyway, the PS3, it's modern enough. Its counterpart had this. It doesn't make sense why they wouldn't have a storage device broken out like that. Anyway, it was so frustrating to go like, okay, what do I need to delete from my PS3? I don't have that much stuff on it. Most of it's disk based. I'm not gonna have to delete that much stuff anyway. Wrong. I have a 50 gig PS3 or whatever, 60 gig. Most of it is the files that never you can ever use again on there because they don't, you're not going to use Amazon Prime Video on there or whatever, or all this random crap, Netflix capability, all this stuff that you can't even use anymore is taking up a fair chunk of the storage. So you have like maybe half of it left. So I have to kind of go like, oh, do I need this? This has 8,000 megabytes. Do I need to delete it? It is such a mess. It was such a pain to download Drakengard 3. And then on top of that, the original PlayStation 3 download speeds are so slow, and I
Oh,
have fast internet. I have
they're
fast internet.
horrendous. Oh my
Dude, I am
gosh.
not even joking. It took me a day and a half to delete to download Dragon Guard 3 to my PS3 with my internet router right beside it. It
Yeah,
was insane.
I definitely. Yeah, it was definitely an overnight download for me.
It was 5 megs up, dude. Like I'm not even joking. It was horrendous.
Yeah.
I literally left the TV on and came back to it the next day and it was not done. Then
Oh
I came back
wow.
after work, wasn't done. And then that following night, it barely finished. It was
Yeah.
crazy. I was like, this is not a digital console at all. Um, it ran
Yeah.
over basically, but the storage is just, oh my gosh, that anywhere was up, right, for the next system. At least the PS4 broke it out,
They
but my God, who
they
came up with that?
they tried to do, the digital releases, full releases of games, and I think they tried it a little bit early. Like I don't think that was the generation for it.
It was not well. 360 is actually not bad for digital stuff, but it didn't have the storage you needed. So
Hmm.
you could like buy a digital game, and you'd have to have all this extra storage to even put it
Like
on there.
those
It
digital,
wasn't
like
ideal.
those smaller digital games, like arcade type games, like
Yeah,
the Xbox Live Arcade, the WiiWare, the Virtual Console,
yeah.
all that fantastic. Those are chef's kiss. Great use of the technology at the time. But full
Totally.
game downloads, that was not in the docket for that
No, it
generation.
got better as they, especially for the 360, where they came out with more SKUs with bigger storage. But to even play backwards compatible stuff and for stuff on the console, you had to have a hard drive set up,
Hmm.
mostly. It had to be at least internal, as far as I know. I don't think you could just download off of or play off of a Seagate or anything. I don't think you can on a 360. Anyway, they
Yeah,
they were doing it before PlayStation was.
yeah. Hard
It's
drive
so
technology
frustrating,
was
dude.
also just not there at the time because they were still on
Yeah.
spinning discs. Whereas I think the PS4 was always solid state drives. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
PS4. I don't think the PS4 had an SSD. But it did have
Really?
fast storage though. It was
Yeah.
pretty fast. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was just an internal hard drive.
Hmm.
PS5 has an
Oh
SSD.
yeah, yeah. That's a given.
Um, Xbox One did not have an SSD. I'm pretty sure this generation both have SSDs.
Well, I would hope
Um,
so. This generation, this is like, yeah, SSDs have never been more cheap. I mean,
right. And why
any
wouldn't you do them?
machine should
Right.
have an SSD at
Yeah.
this point, whether it's a M.2 or it's just a flat, the
Yeah.
version of the SSD. It's just
Right.
yeah.
And it's the PS4 is pretty good. The download speeds were still pretty slow on there. The PS5 download speeds and upload speeds are pretty fast.
Oh yeah.
They finally got to a point where it's not a problem.
Yeah,
Um,
PS4. I tried doing Disney Plus on there recently, and it just
yeah.
did not run at all on there. So,
Really?
which is fine.
Oh,
I don't
interesting.
have to do
It
that on there, but
yeah, it must not be like maintained.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. But it's fine. I've got a weird jank setup where I've got a MacBook hooked up to my TV, anyways. So,
Oh, did you? Did
mm,
you?
that works out.
But yeah, that's basically it. It ran over really. That whole generation. The storage issues were not perfect. I mean, I remember unhooking a HDD, the Xbox's hard drive, and taking it to people's houses for my save games. Like I remember
Mm.
doing this for Fallout 3. I would take my hard drive off with me and take it with me to like church or something, and then go hang out with somebody at their house and plug in the HDD there
Wow.
and play my games. It was wild.
Hmm.
Um, and it wasn't ideal, but
Yeah.
anyway, that's pretty much all for that. So let's get into it a little bit. I don't want to go too long because it is getting late. We need to get to Betty Pie at some point. But the Switch, all right, the Switch 2, pretty much got completely leaked this past week.
Yeah.
The motherboard got shown. There were specs of the actual screen.
And we know
There
like for
was
sure that those were like accurate leaks.
they might have been prototype pieces, but
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. Like
Yeah.
I don't think they were live pieces of hardware, but they
Sure.
were the models, they were the husks
Yeah.
for sure, and they've pretty much been like, yep, that's what people have seen.
Yeah.
Um, they have the Hall effect,
Perfect. Perfect.
the Joy Cons there.
No more drift.
It's pretty, but yeah, basically, it's more than likely the Switch 2. Um, and I don't know what they're waiting on at this point. Like, I just don't. Like, the games need to be announced already. They need to show the console off. I mean, it's going to look like a Switch. It's going to. It's going to be a little more elegant than that. It's going to be a little bigger than that. It's going to have still an LED, LCD screen, which kind of sucks because they're going to sell you an OLED version of it at some point. I wish it launched with an OLED version. That would be ideal, but you know, Nintendo get a Nintendo and sell you
I
something
don't really
later.
need an
You-
OLED screen, anyways. To be
I
honest, I
don't
don't play
either,
it
but it
portable
would be
enough.
nice. I actually do play a fair amount portably, but
Yeah.
I just at this point, what could they possibly be waiting on? They should have just put it out, like put something out. They have. I'm sure they have a video ready. I would be shocked if they didn't. Like they have everything ready and ready to go. I don't
They
know
have
what they're
videos
waiting
for a
on. It's
lot of things ready to go, and a lot of
yeah.
games ready
They're
to go.
so. I want to know who decides these things? Like, is it Furukawa that decides like when they're going to announce something? Is it, has it
It's
is it a confluence
Reggie.
of things? Is it like, yeah, it's Reggie play. He's on his
He's pulling
Fortune
the
500
strings.
island.
Yeah, he's pulling the
Yes.
strings from the shadows. He's the shadow government of
Is your
Nintendo.
body ready? And he's just
Yeah,
pulling the
yeah.
puppets. Yeah. Yeah, he's got Doug Bowser by his shell and he's spinning him like a top.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, Dude,
You
Doug
just love
Bowser
it.
being the company's president is
Get out of
insane.
here.
How,
Get out of here.
how is that?
Why? How did that
Did he change
happen?
his name? Did he change his name for
He
that?
had to,
Did he
right?
change his name?
Or maybe they just
It's
decided this guy's got Bowser in his name, so he
that's
has to
like
be our
Square Enix
president.
being run by Sephiroth, like John
Yeah,
Sephiroth.
John
Like
Sephiroth.
genuinely.
Yeah,
Like what the
he.
hell are we talking about?
Yeah,
Like Bowser?
Doug
Bowser?
Bowser.
What are we?
It's not
This is crazy.
Browser. It's not like bourgeois. It's Bowser.
And
Like,
I've heard the name Bowser as the last name. I have,
yeah,
but
But
It's
out of
crazy.
the odds are like astronomical for that to like surely that had to be like a stunt, right? To hire this guy.
This
Like
guy had to
he had the
Doug Bowser.
credentials, but also
Yeah,
like there was probably like, it could have been ran by a lot of other people, I'm sure, right?
it could have. Yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
sure there was
It's
a board
just
somewhere that was like, let's get the guy with Bowser in his last name, right?
it's
Somebody had
so
to make that
funny,
decision. Somebody had to make that conscious decision. Like,
and
the
I want
guy
to
with
know if
Bowser in
this
his
guy.
name has to be
Yeah,
our guy.
yeah.
Like, he has the
Did this
credentials
guy
and he's got the Bowser in his name, so.
basically? Yeah, like did he
Yeah.
spec into this guy? Did he go like I'm going to work at Nintendo because my name is Bowser? Like, do you think he did that? I'm wondering.
No,
That would be so
no,
funny.
I don't think so. I don't think he
You
was
don't think
like a
so? It's
gamer
just
at all.
happenstance.
I think it was
It's
happenstance. Yeah,
insane.
he doesn't
That's
strike me as like
insane.
the gamer type. He's no
Yeah, his
Reggie.
name is Mario. It'd be so funny
Reggie
if his
was a
name was
gamer.
Mario Bowser, and then you're like, if his name was Mario Bowser, you'd be like, this is definitely a government psyop.
Yeah, right. Reggie was a
um,
real gamer. Like they just recently found like a ton of his N64
oh,
games. He has like a huge
nice.
collection that.
Good on him.
Yeah, he was a
Did he
real
play?
one. He was a real one.
Did he play Buck Bumble? I want to know if Reggie Fils-Aimé has a Buck Bumble save.
I
That'd
don't
be all
know.
right.
But he's usually having to get back to playing Animal Crossing in his 3DS. So
Oh, has to. Yeah, gotta get back to that new leaf. Can't
yeah,
miss out on all the deals. Can't miss out on the
gosh,
turnips.
that game was, my goodness. I have mixed feelings about that entry, but
Really? Yeah, I like New Horizons, but the if
I have
they
mixed feelings on that one too.
I ended up having them because the connectivity is so busted. I mean, just with every Switch game, it's just the networking is horrible.
There,
But
that Switch 2, I think it's really going to be pushing for better connectivity. I think that's like one of their
I hope
pillars
so,
for Switch 2.
dude. You know what they could do? They could just put out Smash Ultimate again with better
But
netcode, and
with
people would buy that.
rollback netcode, can you
Oh
imagine?
my
People would
gosh!
lose their
Oh my gosh!
minds.
I would lose my mind. I love playing Smash Brothers with people.
Yeah,
It is the only way to play it is on a couch with somebody though, because the
yeah.
internet is so bad.
The internet's just
Like if I
so
could
bad with
play it
those games.
online with somebody, I definitely would.
It's a
I
completely different
definitely
game
would.
online, though. It's like a completely different
Yeah,
game.
totally. It
There's
is.
a
It is.
different
But
tier
when you're
list. There's actually a real different tier list, like actual different tier list for the game online compared to in person.
right,
Like,
casual play. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
not even casual play. For competitive online play, there's a different tier list for competitive couch play because the
Oh, I see what you're
characters
saying.
are
Okay.
play so differently with the lag
Interesting.
compared to without the lag.
Interesting. Interesting. So you're
Yes.
saying there's a skill discrepancy. Interesting. Well, not skill discrepancy,
No.
like
It's
a
like
input
some characters
discrepancy.
do better with input latency, and some
Right.
characters do worse with input latency,
Right.
and vice
Right.
versa.
Yeah.
The input latency helps some characters, and it doesn't help some characters. So, like, yeah,
That's crazy
yeah,
because you're trying to hit like specific frames for
yeah,
different attacks, especially
yeah.
when you're playing pro stuff.
So,
That's insane.
typically, heavies like go up in like playability online because like
Yeah.
the heavies, you don't have as many inputs that you're doing as like something like a combo character. So
Right. So the questions I wanted to ask you about Switch 2.
yeah,
So we understand the form factor, we understand what it looks like probably. I mean, I just saw a listing come up on GameStop for a bunch of Switch accessories like cases and stuff. So like things are just getting out there now. Like people are like
oh,
basically
Switch
trying to
Two
manifest this
accessories.
now.
Okay,
Yes, Switch
yeah,
2 accessories I should say. They're trying to manifest this basically.
yeah.
Um and I'm interested to see what kind of turn it's going to take. Like, is Nintendo going to cave to the pressure? Like, almost certainly not. But like, then when does it happen? Like,
I
it's going to happen by March. It's going to happen by March. We're not halfway through January, but we're by next week we'll be halfway through. Like, is it next week? Is it 2 weeks from now? Is it in February? Like, it's going to be in this window. I'm just anxious to find out where it's going to be. You know what I mean?
I just want to know who's out here buying accessories for Switch 2 when we don't even officially have a Switch 2 announcement. I want to know who's actually
Yeah.
buying those Switch 2 accessories.
There's got to be somebody. There has to be
But
somebody.
why? Like,
There's just
what if the Switch 2 isn't like? What if that thing wasn't designed for the Switch 2? Like, what special knowledge
Well,
are they supposed to have
Well, that's
that
the
we don't
idea.
have?
Is that these these manufacturers know what the Switch 2 is going to be like.
Some of them
So
might.
they're yes, but
Not the
more
one
often
that
than
made
not,
your like Joy-Con case or whatever. Like maybe they didn't have it and they
yeah,
just guessed.
yeah, right. It's I don't know.
It's a
I
weird
think
area
they
to be in, I feel
it
like.
is a weird area. I think they probably know. I just think they get briefed on that stuff for
Hmm.
accessories. It's got to come sooner rather than later, and it needs to come really soon because I'm excited to see the new games on it. I wonder if that comes out this year, if that Switch 2 comes out this year, does Metroid Prime 4 get put on it this year, or is that a next year game? I maintain that it's a next year game. I could see that game not coming out until the
No,
spring
no,
next year.
that game comes out this year. They've already like
Do you think it's a
pretty much.
launch title though? Do you think it's a launch title? I don't. At
I
the
don't
very
think it's
least.
a. I don't. Metroid Prime 4. That's a Switch One game. That's a Switch One game. I'm standing by
It
that. That's a
is,
Switch
but
One game. I
it
don't think they're gonna have
is,
a
but
Switch Two version of that.
is it going to be Breath of the Wild, where they just had put it on Wii U and then Switch? Like, is
No,
it their day one? Is it their day one? That's what I'm asking.
no, it's gonna be a
I don't
Switch
think so.
One game, but it'll run on Switch Two because Switch Two is just gonna
Yeah.
natively play Switch One games. I think
Right.
from the
Right.
same cartridge slot. So,
Oh, really? Okay. I
yeah,
wonder what they do if they're going to upres or whatever. Like, is it just going to be the same game that runs better, or are they going to like
it'll run
have
better.
proof? Are they going to have proof that the game is there and that you own it, and then it downloads the upgraded version? Like, I wonder if they do
No,
that because
I don't think
maybe.
so. I don't think they do
I think.
anything fancy
Yeah.
like that. I think they just it's literally just
Mm,
a Switch game and it just runs a little bit better on Switch 2 cuz Switch 2 has better hardware and you try playing it on the Switch 1 it's probably going to run
yeah.
like Breath of the Wild ran on the Wii U and that's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
which was poor. Yeah, it didn't run very well on the Wii U.
Yeah.
It doesn't run great on Switch a lot of the time, especially when a lot of things
No.
are on screen.
No, it's
But
a
it's
very
not
not
bad. It's definitely
greatly
playable.
optimized game compared
It
to Tears of
waffles.
the
Yeah,
Kingdom.
right. It waffles. Yeah, even Tears of the Kingdom actually stutters here and there, but it's even more solid than Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, as a lot of things are happening on screen in Breath of the Wild, like it really starts chugging. It goes from anywhere from 20 to 30 to even 15 frames a second. It's tough, but
Yeah.
you get used to that too, just like with you playing Pokemon too, where it was barely hitting 30, right? It could be that as
Yeah.
well. But yeah, that's basically I wanted to get your thoughts on like what are we expecting out of the Switch 2? Like is they have to announce it by the end of the fiscal year, which is March.
Yeah.
So we
Yep.
know that. So it's like boxed in, like it's like a lion we're trying to tame. We're like, all right, you gonna pounce at us? Like you're cornered now. Like we know when this is going to take place. It's just a matter of if you're going to
It's
bare your
just so
jaws or not.
funny. People have been saying this for like the past 5 years that Switch 2 is on the horizon.
I know, but
Switch
like
2's been
Nintendo
leaked.
said it in an
Now
earnings call,
they
so that's
finally
the thing.
said it. They finally said that they're
Yes,
actually doing it.
we're going
This is the
to
first time in
announce
5 years that they've
information.
done that. Yeah.
Yeah, about the Switch successor before the end of the fiscal year. That's what
Yeah.
they said, and that's March, so that's the cutoff,
It's
right?
gonna be really
Um,
funny though, when the Switch successor, it's just like be outside of our expectations. That would just make my day if it was completely outside of our
yeah,
expectations on what this thing
right,
really is. Like
yeah,
if they pull a
for
fast
sure.
one on us.
Yeah, yeah, man, like that is going to sell so many units. It's going to sell gangbusters. It's going to be insane. Um, but yeah, I I'm excited to play it. I wonder if because okay, where I'm at with my PS5. Some PS5 games come out, right, and I play them. I'm mostly playing PS4 games on my PS5. Is that going to be the same thing for a Switch? And if that's the case, how long is it before like we have enough new stuff
The
to
killer
play
app,
on a
yeah.
consistent base? Yeah, like they're going to put another game on this thing. It's going to be probably a Mario game to sell the system. Like, how soon do I play that compared to just
Mm-hmm.
playing my old stuff? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is the pack? It's not the pack end. What is the launch game for this? What is the launch
Yeah.
game? That's what I want to know. It is not going to be a Zelda. They have done
It's
two
not
Zeldas in
Metroid
the
Prime
last
4.
2 years. It's not Metroid Prime 4. Okay. I think is a long shot if it's that Donkey Kong thing. I think that was a smokescreen for
That's a
people thinking that. I think that was the Donkey Kong Country Returns
That
remake. That's
is.
what I
That
think it was.
is. That's what that
It
Donkey
had to
Kong
have been,
game
right?
is. Yeah.
That's what I think,
We would have
right?
heard about it
And
by
that would be
now.
fine. I think so too. So it's got to be a new Mario. And I also think this might be this isn't a long shot. I think this has a better chance than a new Mario 3D Mario. I think it's Mario Kart 9. I think that might be it.
Yeah, I could
I
see
think
that.
that might be
That
it
would sell some
because
systems.
that would sell so many systems because 8 is the best-selling game on
Yeah.
the Switch. They
I
never
don't
made a
like
new one.
Mario
They just
Kart.
added to it. Yeah. They did not add. They just added to it. They didn't make a new one. So it's timed for a new one. They might even they might just call it Mario Kart 10 or something. I mean, they might even not do 9. I don't know. I don't know. They'll name something crazy, right? They should do Triple Dash. That'd be sick. How cool would that be?
Three
Um,
characters in one cart.
yeah, yeah, totally. Like
That'd be crazy.
I want to know. I want to know if I'm going to have enough to play when that system comes out, or or am I going to be playing a bunch of old stuff, which is fine if it runs better and it doesn't cost me too much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally fine.
Yeah.
And then also, if you could play that stuff that you already own, do those saves hop over? I imagine so because it's all NSO stuff. So hopefully that all just migrates, right?
Yeah, if you
With
have
all the cloud.
NSO, then the
Yeah, I would
cloud
hope so.
saves will go down. Yeah.
Unless saves are tied to newer versions of games, right? Where it's like I bought this new version of Breath of the Wild. There are specific saves for this version, the Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild.
I
So
don't think they're gonna do
you can't
Switch
change
2
it over.
versions of Breath of the Wild or anything.
You say that, but they do that with like PlayStation stuff, where it's like
That's
you have
Sony
this
though.
game on
Nintendo
PS4 and
doesn't
5.
do that. Nintendo just doesn't do that. I just don't
Well,
expect
Nintendo
Nintendo to
hasn't done
do
anything
something
like
like
that.
that.
Nintendo has. We're going to put this out, and that's it.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep putting stuff out.
Yeah.
Like it is sequential. Nothing marries to the other. Like I'm putting out a game. Its saves belong to it. If we were to make a remake, those two would not talk to each other.
Yeah.
That's what I think would probably happen.
That's what I think. I don't
So
think Nintendo's putting out a Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild.
basically, I I hope they're not doing new versions of their games. I hope they are just natively the Switch 2 is just making those games better. That's what I want. If
Yeah,
they
it will.
That's what I want.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm expecting as well. I'm thinking those games are just gonna run better. They're not gonna really look much better, I don't think, but they're
That's
gonna
fine. That's
run
fine.
better. They might
I
look a
just
little
want to
bit
play
better, but not too
Yeah.
much.
I just want to play Tears of the Kingdom at 60. I think they can do that on a Switch 2. It's
I
running in
don't.
PS4 Pro architecture pretty much in terms of power. It's like a PS4
Yeah,
Pro.
I wouldn't
So
get your hopes up about 60, but I'd get your hopes up about a stable 30.
45, 30. I mean, stable. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I think they could probably
I'd
hit
get
60.
your
Like
hopes
Steam.
up on a stable frame rate. Is what I'd get your hopes up on.
Yeah, the Steam Deck is hitting stable frame rates for a lot of even bigger games. So I could definitely see. I hear 45 is a great benchmark for that sort of thing. Like
Hmm.
for even graphics intensive games, if you can hit 45 on a Steam Deck, you're doing pretty well for yourself. Like it's over the 30, but it's under 60, and
Yeah.
it's kind of cutting that middle ground. I hope the Switch 2 just improves the stuff we already own, personally,
Yeah. I
because there's
think
some
it
stuff like
will, but I wouldn't get your hopes up about 60 frames.
maybe, yeah, that might be getting too excited. Maybe for the older stuff, it might do that. Like for the Breath of the Wilds, maybe they do that because it's an older game and it's less complicated and hardware intensive, right?
I
Um,
think they would have to put out like a full update file for the game to
that's what I'm
accomplish
saying.
something
Like
like
you would
that.
just patch it, right? You would just
Yeah.
patch at that point. Um, the game that needs it the most is the Pokemon Scarvy stuff. Like it needs it the most.
Trust
I
me, I
wonder
know.
how
I
they,
have like 500
yeah,
hours in that game.
yeah, and so like I think Mario Kart 9 is gonna hit. I think the new Mario is gonna hit. I think a new Metroid, 2D Metroid would be great. It's time for that, I think. I don't know if they're going to spin a Metroid Dread that quick and Dread 2 that quick. Probably
Yeah.
not. That's what I would want because I love Dread.
Dread
Um,
was amazing, but that
Dread was
studio
amazing.
needs
And then,
to like that.
yeah,
It's more of an indie studio, really, that made that game.
yeah.
So they'll probably need
What would
time.
be totally? What would be ideal is if they released with a Pokemon game. If they did that, that would be so unbelievable. They would never do it though, because I don't think that Pokemon game's going to be ready. Zaw's not going to be
No.
ready, I don't think. But could you imagine though?
Yeah,
selling the Switch 2 with a Pokemon game. Oh my
that would
god.
do it.
That
But
would be that would be
yeah.
insane. That would
Mm-hmm.
sell multiple millions of copies.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be by far the most played game on the system,
Yeah.
like ever. Like and people, their first game would be Pokemon, like the new Legends game, and
Mm-hmm.
that would sell so many copies. It would make Pokemon so much money. It's insane. But I appreciate
Yeah.
that they'd be taking a slower route with the Pokemon games because,
Yeah.
geez, the way Scarvy ended up, it
They
was
need
pretty
they
rough.
need to slow down and take their time. They really do need to slow
They
down.
do.
They're making
They need to
money
just
with
focus
all
on
their
quality.
side
Yeah,
things. Like
focus on
they're not
quality.
losing
Yeah,
money just by focusing on quality.
yeah,
They'll
totally,
they'll do better in
totally.
the long run if they
I agree.
start
Yeah.
they start getting fan approval up. I think that's gonna make them more money in the long run.
I think so too. I just think that you know like customer happiness should be your main goal, right? Most people are playing Pokemon and are happy because usually it's a pretty casual effort. You're not as into Pokemon. It's one of these nostalgic pieces of your childhood that you've always had and you grew up around, right? But then you have the hardcore people that like live and breathe this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting impatient too because they're like, you're ruining the stuff that we actually want to spend time with, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Like I
and
know people
Scarby
that's
was
all they play is Pokemon.
exactly right. It's like they're Madden or whatever. Like they
Yeah.
only play Pokemon. And that's just what they like to do. And they only play the Pokemon that comes out. And there's a new Pokemon game every other year, pretty much.
Yeah.
So they're pretty well fed. It'll just be, I don't know. I think that would be a super smart thing to do, but you can't force development time. You just can't force it on
Yeah.
people. Like you're not going to get as good of a product out as
Yep.
people have definitely demonstrated, right?
Yep.
Um,
But yeah,
but yeah,
and
I think
that
the Switch 2 is
Switch.
going to be announced, and we're going to see some games really soon.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I'm really wanting to see on a Switch 2 is a new Fire Emblem. Engage was
You'll get
okay,
it. You'll
but
get it. Yeah, you'll get it.
it like that didn't feel like a full Fire Emblem experience to me, like a Three Houses. You know,
Sure. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Engage was just like a best hits sort of thing, which was fine. I
Oh yeah.
mean,
It felt very gotcha too. Like very
yeah,
gotcha. Um. Shoot, I was playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2. They have literally gotcha mechanics in that game. Like for like getting your blades.
yep.
I was pretty grossed out. I was like, what kind of
Did
crap is this? Like,
Did you
it
get
feels
the
like you're
one
trying to
with
ask me to
like
spend money.
the huge tracts of land yet?
No, I was hoping I would, but I didn't.
Yeah, that's too
I
bad.
want to get what's her name? Oh my gosh, I can't remember. The android from Xeno Saga. I want to
Oh, is
play
that one of
play
them?
with her. Yeah, that's kind of one
Mm,
of the callbacks, which is really cool.
nice.
Um, but yeah, she just appears as a summon basically. But anyway, Switch 2 is on the way. It's coming. Who knows when it actually hits, but it's coming. So yeah, that's pretty much all for like the game front. Do you have anything else you want to kind of cover?
No, not really. Just stick with that Drakengard 3 because
I will.
I
Yeah,
need to
I'll
get
plug
my
away at
review
it.
out for that. But I do love that game.
I'd
It's
like to have some context for your writing as well.
Yeah, it's something like you get into it for the shock value, I think, of the game because it really does
That's
just
kind of why I'm there.
shock you, and then you
Yeah,
stay for the substance of the game because underneath that
sure.
the game really does have underneath all the shock value stuff, it really does have some substance to its story.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I'll plug away at it. I'm not sure how quickly I'll finish it or anything, but
Oh man,
it'll be a concern.
what a
Yeah.
weird game. My goodness, that just like that opening, like whenever you launch the game, zero. I need a pee. Like it's so
Yep.
weird,
I
so
was off put by
weird.
that. I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
It's
What
so
are we doing?
weird. What did
Why is this dragon doing somersaults? Why is he doing
they
somersaults?
they let Yoko Taro cook? That was the last time they let him cook, and they said you are never
Ugh,
allowed to cook again.
look, you're burning the meal, Yoko. I'm kidding.
He did.
I'm
He
kidding.
burnt the
I
meal. He burnt the meal in those Drakengard games,
He
and then
burnt the
they had
meal,
to
and you're
rein him
telling me
in.
you love the taste. You burnt the meal, and you tell me you love the taste. That's what I'm hearing.
It,
I love
I
burnt
didn't love the
story.
taste. It's just it's a weird game that I'm glad that
It's like an exotic.
exists.
It's like an exotic meal you've only had once. You're
Yeah,
like, I wouldn't
yeah.
have that again, but I'm glad I tried it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly how
Yeah.
the game is. Like you've got to try it.
Oh,
It's like
I
it's
tried
like
it.
a
I
life
Yeah.
experience. No, no, no. You got to like get through this game and then you've tried
Oh
it.
man,
And
that's such a
and then you're
commitment.
like, what did I just why did I play that? What's wrong with me? Like that's what you're thinking
Uh,
after you play this game. Like, what's
what's
wrong
wrong
with
with me?
me? Why
That's what I ask myself
why
every
is my
day anyway.
life like
So
this? Where did my life go wrong that I'm playing this? But
took a left turn at Drakengard 3. I could have taken
yeah.
a right at near
No,
reincarnation.
I had two options, right? I had Drakengard 3 and I had Demon Souls. And I chose Drakengard 3
Oh,
over
wrong
Demon
choice.
Souls. I did. I still
I'm
haven't
not a
gone back and finished up Demon Souls. I
I'm not a
played
huge
through
Demon Souls
Drakengard
fan. I
3.
like that game fine, but that's a huge mistake on your part, I have to say.
No! I thought Drakengard 3 was legitimately more interesting than Demon Souls. As a
Sure.
veteran Souls player, I just
Yeah.
felt like that game was just more interesting at the time. It was just the shock value of the game
I gotta
is
check it out. I gotta finish it.
it's
I'll get
such a
back to it. I'll get back
weird
to it.
game. Weird game.
I will. I promise you I will get back to it.
I
That is
like
my
that game
solemn
though. I
promise to
do like
you.
that
As
game.
my as your confidant.
I
I will
I
play more of it.
I'm not gonna say I love the game because I really can't say that, but I do
How
like the
could
game
you
a
though?
lot.
How could
It's
you though?
such
Yeah,
a
totally.
it's such a oh my gosh, it's such a
Yeah.
weird experience for sure though. Like I
Speaking of weird experience, so this is a good segue. Okay.
okay
Just track with me. You know what's a weird experience?
what
Finding out that Sonic is basically Dragon Ball.
yeah
Like
always has
genuinely.
been
So okay, so some context for the listener. We
since
watched
Sonic
Sonic
2.
3. Yeah, right, right. We watched Sonic 3 though in theaters. You and I and my brother, Israel. We watched it on Christmas Eve this year. And boy, oh boy. I like the first two a lot. I think 3 was genuinely super good.
Yeah,
I really like Sonic 3.
yeah, that was a good movie.
I It was I was shocked. I was like, man, this movie's making me feel things. It's got pretty much anything you could ever want. Jim
Yeah.
Carrey is so good as Robotnik. He is hilarious. The laser show dance scene
Mm-hmm.
was my favorite scene in movies this year. Like I'm not even joking. I watched some good stuff this year.
Yeah,
That one made me so happy. I was
it's
like, yes,
so
he's doing his
weird.
thing.
It's so
Oh,
great.
because you totally forget the stakes because they're like breaking into this
Yeah.
government facility and they're like, we need to watch out for these lasers. And then just start having this complete dance party to the Chemical Brothers Galvanize. And you're like, this is so good.
Yeah,
So
it's
good. And he's
what a
dancing with
bizarre
himself
movie.
because
Yep.
he's playing two dual roles. And,
Yep.
oh my gosh. Jim Carrey is such a blessing.
Oh
His whole
yeah.
filmography like stops like 6 years ago, and he's like, "I'm retired," and then he comes back for every Sonic movie. So that's
Uh-huh.
just the rest of his filmography. It's
Yep.
hilarious to
It's
me.
it's
Yeah,
awesome.
he's probably coming back for 4 too,
Oh
because of
yeah.
course he is.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I loved it. There's not much I really have to say about it because I'm not familiar with like the entire lore, but you said it adapts Sonic Adventure 2, so
Yeah, it
that's the one in
adapts
your
it
book.
kind of loosely, but it still adapts it fairly well.
They have the grandpa in there, right?
Oh
He's
yeah.
in
Yeah.
the Shadow.
He's
Yeah,
not like a silly guy in that, but yeah.
yeah.
He's kind of a
Man, he's
serious
such a
guy
cornball.
in Adventure, but
Sure, he's such a cornball in this. He's so
uh
Jim Carrey is just man. I love Jim Carrey so much. I love the progression from all the movies, right? With his costume specifically, where he's like got
mhm.
this government scientist, pretty laced up, slick back hair, and then each movie subsequently turns slowly a little bit more into Eggman. I
Yeah.
really like that because I remember seeing his first version. I was just like, I'm not even sold on Jim Carrey as Eggman, but we'll let it pass. And it ended up being a really cool, slick
Mhm.
interpretation of that character. And then as it went on, he got a little bit more disgruntled and a little bit more grungy, a little fatter, his mustache got a little poofier. Yeah, it's just he has a sort of like I don't know, uncaged love for this character that it's so
He
infectious,
really
right?
is the main character of those Sonic movies.
He is. No, he is. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. Sonic is not the reason
yeah,
you watch those movies. And he's good. I like Betty Schwa. I like Ben Schwartz. I like
yeah,
Keanu. Idris. I like what's her name for Tails.
yeah.
Everyone's good in this movie.
Yeah, they're all
Even James
great in the
Marsden.
movie, but
Yeah, James Marsden, Tika Sumster. I like them. Um, Jessica Jones. That's not her name, but whatever her name is. Kristen Ritter. She plays a government agent in here. She's cool. Um, I just think, for not even for the kids movie, it's just a really well made movie.
mm-hmm.
And I think Shadow being at the core of it, it was just I was taken aback. I was like, dang, this movie's like
Yeah,
it's got some range.
they
It's got some
did.
range.
I think they definitely did the character of Shadow justice in that
Yeah, I
movie.
think the Keanu performance was actually really good to
Yeah,
match. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and not to talk about the entire series as a whole, though. I watched two for the first time like the day before I went and saw that,
Mm-hmm.
the third one, and I've seen one a couple times, and I really liked that. And I was just like, one of these days, I'm like, I need to go see it. And I think we talked about it as we started the pod. When Sonic 3 comes out, we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
And I was just like, yeah, you were the perfect person to go with because you're like, that's a reference. That's
that's
a
a
reference.
reference. That's
That's
a
a reference.
reference.
I
Yeah,
was like, nice. This is actually cool. I liked
yeah.
it because I like to hear that sort of thing and go like, oh, I could look for this in like Sonic Adventure 2. Did he say that at this time? That sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, when he's
fun
jumping out
stuff.
of
I had
the
a great time.
helicopter. Oh gosh, they did line for
Yeah.
line from the opening scene of Adventure 2. That was great. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. You're like, oh, they're doing that. It was fun.
They
It
did
was a
the
good time.
line. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think the Sonic movies are better than like even the Mario movie. Did you saw, of
Yeah,
course, the yeah.
yeah.
That movie is
I'd
so
agree with
safe,
that.
and
The
I
Mario
think I
movie's
think the
not
Sonic movies are
bad, but
better.
yeah, I would agree it's
It's not
safe.
so
It's
safe.
probably one
And
of the
they
best movies that Illumination's put out in a long time, but
oh
that's
yeah.
not
I
hard
I
to do.
I'm pretty partial to Despicable Me. I love 1, 2, and 3. I think those
Yeah,
movies are so good.
yeah, sure.
But like Secret Life of Pets, the Lorax, like they put out a lot of crap. They have put a lot of
Minions,
crap. Minions, Boss Baby. I've seen, dude,
not Boss
with
Baby.
a
We don't
child.
talk about Boss
No,
Baby.
I've seen Boss Baby with a child though. I've seen Minions so many times.
Oh
Like
no.
it is just on in the house. Sometimes I turn it on, sometimes I don't. It haunts my dreams.
Not
It
the
haunts my dreams.
Minions. You
Oh,
turning
it makes
into
me
a
want
Facebook
to.
mom.
It makes me, yeah, right. It makes me want to roll myself into a skin bowling ball and be thrown into human pins. That's how it makes me feel. Ugh, it's horrible. But uh, whatever. It's fine. The Sonic series is great. Sonic 3 is the best one, which is kind of rare
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
pretty expansive series. But
yeah. But
yeah, that was the main thing we did for Christmas break. I hung out with a couple people too. Um, yeah, I'll kind of just get through a couple things that I've been like listening to, watching. I told you about some audiobooks I was listening to. The Play Nice by Jason Schreier, the Blizzard stuff, which is really interesting.
hmm,
The one that really caught my eye and my attention was 1984, the adaptation of the classic dystopian novel 1984 with Big Brother and all that,
yeah, yeah,
double
great
double
novel.
speak and yeah,
Yeah,
I had read
I
it
like
in
that book.
school and I really liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read it in school, but it's my first time like actually listening to it like a stage play dramatization.
Hmm.
Holy cow, dude! Like I'm blown away. Like it was just so good. It was 3 hours tight. Andrew Garfield as Winston and Cynthia Erivo, and they had Tom Hardy as Big Brother. He was like, "Hello, I'm Big Brother, and I love
Yeah.
you." And everyone's like, "We love you, Big Brother." And
I don't like
yeah,
the
it
ending
is
of that book, but I
of
do
the
like.
book. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't like that ending
it's a
at all.
little the
It's a little
the
much.
start is so strong. The
Yeah, the
start
start is so strong. Yeah, the world building is just so
I mean,
strong in that.
with the thought crime stuff, it's so
Yeah.
good. Um, But yeah, like all the performance in it in this dramatization is just unbelievable. It feels like I'm like listening to a movie. I was like, oh my gosh, a lot of
Yeah.
really good character
There's
actors in it as
lot of
well.
good things
I
you
recommend
can
it.
get out of 1984 in today's age. That's for sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah, you can. It was super ahead of
it's a
its time.
little on the nose for a
Super.
lot of things going on today. So that's for certain.
Well, it's on the nose, and like the terms they use, like the proper nouns they use in this are like
Yeah.
like double think and thought crimes and stuff like that. Like
It could
the
easily
subtext is just
become a
text.
lot of the things in
Yeah,
there could or are easily becoming, like actual things. So like
it is.
it's
So
kind
it's
of
kind of
crazy.
become like
Yeah.
informing our truth a little bit. It reminds me of They Live. Have you seen They Live?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, where
With
it's
the
just like consume.
rowdy Rodney Piper, right? It's the guy.
Yeah, Roddy
Yep.
Roddy Piper. Yeah,
Yep.
I love that movie's great. I love John Carpenter in general, but They Live is one of my personal favorites of his. I'm going to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm
I
all out of
want to
bubble gum.
go.
That's so good.
Yeah. It's a
But
good
he's got those
movie.
glasses, right, where it's like obey,
Yep.
consume.
Yep.
Like 1984 kind of feels like that a
Yep.
little bit.
Yep.
And I'm sure that's
Absolutely.
a lot of the inspo was for that.
Yeah. It's a great
Um,
movie. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's a great movie.
oh, They Live is so good. Also, the ending of They Live is kind of whack, but the
Mm-hmm.
movie itself is awesome.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I love They Live. The look of the aliens are so silly though, like the skull faces with the star eyes. It looks
Yeah.
so dumb. But
Something I like
it's
that's along those
yeah.
veins as well is the anime Psycho Pass. I really like that. Um,
Yeah, I need to finish Psychopaths. It's one of those things. It's like my bucket of shame because I know you love that show. So,
yeah, it's really good.
but yeah, I if you're on Audible, I might even be on Spotify. It's probably just on Audible. I've
Probably
been
just on
listening to
Audible, yeah.
the 1984 dramatization with Andrew Garfield. It is
Mm-hmm.
not a word for word reading. It's basically a stage play of 1984,
Yeah.
just audioly, and it was so good, dude. I think you would love it. I think you would.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, anything else for you? Anything you're watching? Anything you're kind of listening to besides video game stuff?
Yeah, I've been watching. I've got the VHS actually back there. Of record of
Lodos?
Lodos War. Yeah, yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm only like 4 episodes into it, but I've been liking what I've been watching so far. I've kind of
Is it like Escaflowne at all, or is it different than that?
Escaflowne.
Oh, do you not know Escaflowne? It's basically like
I've heard the
medieval
name.
mechs. Yeah, it's like medieval mechs. It's got nothing to do with that.
No, nothing to
Yeah,
do with that.
as
No,
you
no.
should check out
I'd
Escaflowne if you
probably like
haven't.
that. I'd
Escaflowne's
probably like
cool.
that. I like mech. So,
Oh yeah, oh yeah, you'd
but
love Escaflowne. Yeah.
this is from what I understand. I could be entirely wrong on this. What I've been told by people is that this is a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that was turned into an anime.
Oh, the Lodos War.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Like the
cool.
writer of this show, this series, was in a campaign or was like the DM for a campaign or something like that, and they turned
Yeah,
it
yeah.
into a series.
Wow, that's so cool. That's what they did for like the Critical Role stuff. Is they basically just adapted their playthrough. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, this was like in like the like 80s or whatever. So like
Right. That's so
it's
cool.
yeah.
Record of Lodos War. I'm gonna make a note of that.
Yeah, it's
But
it's
yeah,
really
check out
cool. It's
Escaflowne.
really really cool. Yeah, I will check out that. I have heard the
Yeah,
name
it's
before. I just didn't know anything about it.
ESCA F. Yeah, ESCAFLOWNE.
So you've watched this
Escaflowne.
before?
I've seen parts of it. I've seen
Yeah.
parts of it. It's mostly an OVA,
Okay.
but it's really good. It's
I
really
like
good.
for mecha
Um,
stuff that's like, I guess like let kind of niche. I like patrol labor. Um,
okay, never heard of it.
yeah, it's more of it's a mix of like a mecha and like a cop show. So they're like cops that have like little mechas and do like they do things from like your average like daily crimes to like saving the world. So it's got a good
Okay,
range. It's pretty interesting.
good scale. Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
really
cool.
like the movie, the Babel movie of Pat
Oh, okay,
Labor. So
Pet Labor. I got to check that out.
yeah, it's a good little
Um,
series.
Something I know we both caught though is in Time Loop on our National Nightmare. We both watched the Concord secret level. We finally
Yes.
did it. We have
Oh my
watched it at this point.
gosh, it's
Our national
so
nightmare is over.
good. It's
It's not
easily
though.
the best piece of cinema and artwork and world building and Story, I mean, I cried throughout the whole thing. I was
You cried?
I was crying through the whole thing. It was so beautiful.
What was there to cry about?
Just how beautiful it was because it was Concord on the big screen.
Oh my god. Concorn, not Concorn.
Not
Pardon me.
Concord.
Um,
Oh no!
yeah,
It was. It was. I mean, the
it was
new
fine.
character designs, like for whatever that was supposed to be, if it was supposed to be a season 2 or just its own
It's,
thing. Because
yes, definitely supposed to be season 2.
I don't know, because like it made it seem like that was like a almost like a prequel, like or like a legendary like thing
Okay,
outside of like.
let's just spoil it. If you're gonna watch it, Concord doesn't exist. Who cares? The characters in this die technically.
Yeah,
no one
maybe.
gives a shit. It's fine.
Probably.
I mean, no one cares. No one cares. It's
But
fine.
they got the charts to the pirates. They did it. They got the charts. They uploaded the songs illegally to LimeWire. They're heroes.
Space LimeWire? Yeah. Space LimeWire. Oh my god. It's so funny.
Oh, maybe I'm aging
Oh.
myself by mentioning LimeWire. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Naps. We're going on to Intergalactic Napster, and we're going to drop all of our sick Galaxy trade routes for you. Yeah, it just feels, the entire thing feels like Firefly diet, like diet. Just
Oh
diet
yeah.
Firefly.
I mean,
It's
I thought that the cast was like better than the like normal cast.
I
for
think
Concord,
totally. I think the cast
but
for this
it was more interesting.
was better than the Concord cast. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, they had a more interesting cast, but that's not hard
Yes.
to do when you're comparing it to
No.
like one of the worst casts in gaming. So.
Ugh. And then they had the audacity to show you
Yes,
in a
Lennox,
sneaky
my
way.
favorite.
They show you Lennox at the end, like they
It's his
show you
arm.
Lennox, like
I'm like, oh, I know that arm. I know that arm. It's my guy.
they show you Lennox, and they're like, "Oh my god, who could this be? Isn't that so mysterious?" And you're like, "I played as this dumb green idiot in the game. Like, this is not freaking Easter eggs, man. This
No,
is
they just ran out of budget, so they couldn't actually show his face because they ran out of budget. Because by the time they were
No,
finishing up the show,
they
the game had already failed.
They did show his face, but it was like in darkness or out of focus. And I'm like, come on, guys, what are we?
No, they don't
trying
even
to
show his
hide?
face. I just got finished watching this. They don't show his face at all. It's just his arm.
They show like his nose down. They do. They don't show like his eyes or
I
anything.
don't
but they show
remember
his nose
seeing his
down.
nose down, but
He kind of like looks at the little tchotchke in the glass,
Maybe.
like from the side, slightly.
maybe.
Yeah, you see him and you're like, that's obviously Lennox.
That's great.
So the pop I got whenever, or the pop I gave whenever I saw the was it the captain character get wheeled into the medical room? I was like, is it Star Child? He's got to be Star Child. This
Oh,
big
no.
red menace. I have to see Star. Where's Star Child? I miss him, my lovely Draxian boy.
He's not in there. He's
He
not
was
in
not
there.
even in there. It was just a guy that looked like him. So now I feel space racist. I'm like,
No!
this guy is basically Star Child. So I'm saying all these race of people look alike, and it's just no good for me.
No!
I
You
just-
can't say that! You can't
I
be a
know,
space
I'm
racist.
sorry.
Stop it!
I thought it was. Listen, I thought it was Star Child, and then I noticed he had mandibles or little flesh mustache, and I was
Very,
like,
very
that's not
different.
Star Child.
Very distinct.
Star Child,
Legally distinct.
Star Child would never do something like that.
Yeah.
Never. Poor Star
He'd never be
Child.
the bad
He deserves
guy.
so much better. It's like saying Star Child. You know, Star Child sounds good. And then you see like his name is Star Child, and you look at him, he just looks like a big old meatball, and you're
Yeah. That doesn't
Who
look
named
like
you?
a Star Child. Like,
like, who
what?
named you? You should be Lennox. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
I-
something
I-
big and beefy. Not
Oh, gosh,
Star Child. What
yeah.
are we talking about?
But that, I don't know.
God, Concord sucks, man.
Okay,
Concord's
but
so bad.
okay, yes, but I think that secret level
He
was
admitted it. He admitted it. He admitted it. I gotta say,
the secret
Concord
level
bad
was
mention.
was I think it was the best they could do with what they had to work with, right? I think secret level was the best they could possibly do with what they had to work with. I think the team on secret level
Yeah.
did a great job adapting that.
I do. Yeah, no, like I'm not like the production's great. Like it's not
Yeah,
like the blur animation is like top freaking notch,
yeah.
but like so you see like all these like throwaway IP in the secret level season, you're like they kind of need to just pad this thing out because like all the cool stuff I think I've already seen and all the like the crossfires and New World and stuff. I haven't even watched those because I don't care.
Did you watch
But
the
like
Armored
I
Core one
watched
yet? I haven't. That's
I need to watch
the
the Armored Core. That's the
yeah.
other one I'd
The only one
mentioned and
I've
I haven't
watched
gotten
right now
to.
is the Concord one. So
Yeah, yeah. I the Mega Man one is good, but it stops like way too early. It says it's
okay.
like 8 minutes, but it's really like 5 minutes,
Oh
and then three
wow,
minutes
that's
of ads,
horrible.
or not ads, 3 minutes of credits, and I'm like, come on, guys, like you're just starting this
Wow.
thing. Yeah, it's really wild. I was like, this is
I
by
can't
far the
believe
shortest
that.
one.
Like it's not
I
it's not
know.
18 minutes like the
No, no, no,
Concord
no,
one.
no. It's like five
That's
minutes, like not even eight.
insane. That's like
It
a
says 8 minutes
crime.
on the runtime. It says 8 minutes on the runtime, but 5 minutes of that are just like it cuts the credits at like 5 minutes and
That should be
45
a
seconds. I was like,
crime.
what are we doing?
An
I
episode
know, it was
needs to
crazy.
be at least 18 minutes. Like, come on. And
Well, even the
that
shorter, like the
Concord
shortest
one was
one
only
is like
like
15.
15. Yeah, the Concord one was only
Yeah,
like 15. It said 18, but
right. My favorite one of those, besides the Warhammer one, was the Outer Worlds. Have you seen that one? That
no.
one was so
I haven't
good.
seen
Oh, it's
anyone
so
except
good.
the Concord
If
one.
you haven't played the Outer Worlds game too, you should play it. It's basically Fallout. But
Yeah, I haven't
yeah,
played it yet.
the secret level for that is probably my favorite of all of them because it deals with corporate greed and them not caring for their personnel and it's just
Oh
yeah,
well,
in
the
extreme ways.
Concord
Yeah.
one deals with corporate greed too.
Oh, I forgot. Oh,
They get
corporate.
it away from the guild that was hoarding it. The eat
What
the
about
rich.
Star Child? Jim Ryan said,
We've got to
the
eat
top of
the
his lungs.
rich. Apparently they taste good.
Eat the rich. You gotta eat the rich. That's what
Okay,
goes.
I don't think that guy would say that.
No, you're gonna see it?
He
Yeah.
doesn't want to be eaten.
I'm rich. Don't eat me. I won't eat myself. I'm not. Don't eat the rich. That's
Oh
so funny.
man, Gulf of America. That's gonna be awesome.
Half of America. Oh my god. Oh my god. Anyway, secret level. On the whole, a really awesome idea, and I think that
Yeah,
even if some of the IPs I'm not interested in, I feel like getting like kind of that out of the way. Maybe we're gonna see some cool stuff in season two because they've already greenlit season two.
okay.
This one was a huge hit.
They,
Um,
yeah, I mean the Concord one, huge hit, and
oh yeah, just slayed all the
that was
numbers.
that
I
was
mean,
the one that got
it
everyone.
was definitely not the Space Marine on the tile you click on Amazon Prime.
No,
It
nobody
wasn't
cares
that
about
made you go
that.
like, that's you better watch yourself. All right, that's the best one. He had a big old chainsaw sword, and I liked him.
Oh,
Okay,
chainsaw. Yeah,
Captain
but did
Titus.
he upload the map coordinates to LimeWire? I
He
don't think
actually
so.
did. No, he did though. They have heads up displays in
Okay.
as an Ultramarine.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm so glad that we watched this so we can stop freaking talking about Concord.
Oh, I love
I'm
talking
done.
about Concord.
No,
It's so good.
no. Okay. When I mean close the book, this thing is shut. This thing is so done. It's unbelievable. We've never been more done with Concord.
No.
Yeah, I know. We're going to take away your long lost sick puppy. We're going to shoot it in the head
You can't
with
take
a.
old Lassie out to pasture.
I will. I will. She
No.
was an expensive show dog, but we're putting her down. That's what I
Do
think.
you think that Sony like pretty much paid for that entire show just to get
Oh, I'm
Concord in
sure.
there?
I am
That's
sure that they did that.
awesome. That's
Oh yeah.
awesome.
Oh yeah. They're like, make it one of the long ones because we got to establish these fun characters.
I just
And
mean
then
like the
Blurb was like,
entirety of like
okay.
Secret Level. Do you think like most of that ended up getting
Oh
like
no.
funded by like Sony's generous
I don't.
donation
No, I
for
don't
the
think so.
Concord episode?
There is heavy Sony representation in it with the PlayStation stuff and then
Hmm.
the Concord stuff, but
Yeah, I'm curious
I don't
what
think
the
so.
heck that like PlayStation 1 is even gonna be about? Like, do they have like Crash Bandicoot and like
Is that not out? I thought
Spyro
it was
jumping
out,
around?
isn't it?
It's probably out. I just haven't watched it yet, so I don't know
Do you know what
anything
the name
about
of
it.
it is? I don't actually know the name of it.
I don't
But yeah,
know.
I think it's basically just a glorified commercial is what that one is. They're like, look at all of our IP, and we spent a lot of money animating it. So
Yeah,
I don't know. That stuff is for the birds. I just like I
I want to see
man,
their IP, but I want to see it in like a video game. Like, can we get a good Mega
yeah.
Man
Can we
game?
get
Haven't had one of those in a
I
while.
could we perchance get a Mega Man 12 or whatever? I like Mega Man 11. That's a good game. Um
They need to do another
I like
Legends game.
They do, and they canceled Legends 3 back in the day, but
Yeah,
they should just do that again. That'd be kind of fun. Just make an open world Mega Man. Like the way
do
Capcom is
it.
revitalizing the series, like
Yeah,
they could do something really cool with Mega Man. So
yeah.
we'll see. We'll
Do
see.
something cool with Mega Man, Capcom. Make us care about Mega Man again.
Make Mega Man great again.
That's
That's
right.
what I say.
That's right.
That's a good name for this podcast, probably.
That's
Make
a
Mega
pretty
Man
good
great
one.
again. Um but yeah, that's pretty much secret level. I'll probably watch the Armor Core stuff, and I might bring that up at some point. But next pod, we're doing the dang thing. We got Game of the Year for 2024. We are gonna have the best show you've ever heard, ever.
We're probably just gonna talk about metaphor through the whole show, but
Yeah, probably. We'll just yeah. I think it's gonna be long. We might even have
yeah.
to split it up. I don't know, but it's gonna be one of our longer podcasts. We're going to talk about everything in the spoiler capacity, even if the other hasn't played it, or
Yeah.
basically like if if I were to finish, I don't know, Indiana Jones, I'd probably just tell you about what happens in Indiana Jones if you didn't care.
Hmm.
That sort of thing. Like we're going to talk at length about
At length, yeah.
everything is going to be talked about. We're going to have some categories. We'll probably sit down before the pod next time, and we'll hash out what categories we want to be included.
Mhm.
But I think we both agree Metaphor is probably going to be our game of the year. I think we can confidently
Yeah,
say it
yeah,
now.
that one
Yeah.
gets it. He gets it.
So we'll probably give it, and that might be Stick Trip's game of the year. We'll make it official next time when you're
Yeah.
probably going to be, excuse me, close to being done with it. 2 weeks is plenty of time to finish that, especially,
Yeah.
my goodness, where you're at. Got hiccups all of a
Yep.
sudden. But yeah, that's going to be a couple weeks from now, and I will be on vacation from the 21st to the 28th night. I'm going to Disney World,
I'm going
and
to Disney World.
I spent $250 to buy a stupid lightsaber I'm going to keep on a shelf.
Oh,
So,
not the lightsaber.
oh yeah, I'm doing this workshop. We're going to the
Oh.
cantina. Oh yeah, I'm doing if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it up, even though it's silly. I'm gonna do it.
Are they
I'm
gonna
gonna do
call
it.
you Star Child?
They're gonna call me Star Child. I'm gonna request that. I'm gonna be like,
Yes.
sir or madam.
I go by Star
What's your name tag?
Child.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna look at their like Star Wars name tag and Orabesh. I'm gonna go like, Buck Speedler, could you call me Star Child,
Star
please?
Child.
And they're gonna be like, yes,
Yeah.
go.
No,
So
because that's dumb.
it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna enjoy it. It's gonna be a childhood dream to make a lightsaber and then lift it up in the air.
It's
I'm
like
gonna,
Build-A-Bear
I'm gonna.
Workshop for nerds.
Hey, you're gonna be jealous when I show you it
I
when I'm done.
probably will.
That's what I think.
I
It's gonna be
like,
cool. I'm excited.
yeah, I always see like the really like fancy lightsabers at like cons that I go to, and I'm always
Yeah,
like, those are cool.
I want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me that. Where's Darth Plagueis' lightsaber? Please make it for me. Have you
The
ever
Jedi
heard the
wouldn't.
tale of Darth Plagueis the
Yeah,
Wampa?
it's not a tale the Jedi would tell you about. So
Star Child could tell you.
Star
I'll have a
Child,
lightsaber.
yeah, he's a Sith Lord.
Star
So.
Child could be like, man, can I be in that series more than Concord? I gotta get out of
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Well,
If anyone could do it, Star Child could do
it's a
it.
dead series. So I mean, if you stay inside that
Ugh.
series, you're
I can't
pretty much
believe they put out a secret level for a game that doesn't exist anymore.
It makes me so happy. You have no idea. I love the
And
current
so that's
state of
also
AAA
something I was
gaming.
thinking about. That's something I'm thinking about. They put all this effort in all these other games. Are these games going to be around for that much longer after these secret levels? I wonder. Like, Is New World gonna still be around for a while? Is like
No,
Crossfire? Like I don't know.
no, I don't think those games are that relevant anymore.
Crossfire is huge in like China. I do know that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that is a huge game. I do know that. But I don't know. The book is closed.
The
Concord's banned.
I'm just curious why they chose Armored Core for like the FromSoft representation. I'm really curious what they
Yeah,
do with that
should have brought
world.
back Bloodborne, baby.
I I don't think they should have done that, but
They should have. No,
I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer to that. I'm just curious
no, there's a right
why they
answer.
chose that.
There's a right answer. It's Bloodborne, buddy.
Hey,
You're wrong.
you haven't even played through that Armored Core 6. That's an absolutely amazing
Well,
game.
see what happened was I played
You're bad
Metaphor,
at
and that's a better
games.
game. The Metaphor is a
No,
better
you're
game.
just
So
bad at
it's a
games.
better game. It's a better game. I
That's
will
a
come back to it.
little hard
Them's
to.
fine. Them's
Those
fine
games are
words,
hard
son.
to compare. Those games are really hard to compare.
Yeah, I like chocolate covered strawberries better than ripe oranges. Like they're not even the same
Yeah, they're
fruit.
not even in
No,
the same like category of game.
I like pizza and I
I
like
think
stir
those
fry.
I think
Which one's
those two
better?
games are about as far away of games as like you could possibly compare. Like I don't think there's two games you could grab that are
You don't think so?
less like each other.
Hmm. You could be right.
Those games are just completely
Hmm.
different in what they're trying to do.
Yeah, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more you are right. So you win this round. I'll let you win it. But,
They're great
all right.
games, both of them, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's a podcast. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it was a pretty good one. Yeah, and we
Yeah, we
play
actually had a
more,
lot to talk about. Yeah, I was happy about that.
Armored Core, play more,
Okay.
Drakengard 3.
Mm. But I have to go kill Chaos. If
No,
I don't, I'm gonna whip
don't
my
do
eyes.
that. Don't kill Chaos. I don't want to
I
hear
have to
about
go.
freaking
I have
Stranger
to
of
kill
Paradise. I
Chaos.
don't want to hear
Well, you're
about you
going to.
killing Chaos.
You're going to. 'Cause
You're
I'm
not
downloading
allowed
it
to
right
talk
now.
about killing Chaos. That's not
We
something.
gotta know about Garland. No,
Oh
you
my
know about
goodness.
Garland?
I know about Garland because I played Final Fantasy 14.
We gotta know about Garland. Why is his horn so sharp?
Oh my gosh! Look,
Yeah, I
you
had to hear about
go.
Concord. You're gonna hear about Garland. You're gonna like it. I don't care.
Listen, I've never actually played Concord, so I don't know anything about
Well,
Concord.
as the guy who's played Concord, you're gonna hear about Garland. That's got nothing to do with it. I'm just saying that. All right,
All
let's get
right.
out of here.
Well,
It's been
with
Steak
that,
Drift.
yep, we've drifted.
Yeah, there's nothing left to say. Concord
We're
just
drifting.
killed me. I'm glad. We are drifting, drifting, careening, sliding over the barrier into the deep frozen lake
Ah.
of Mount Wanahakalugi. So, all right, for Stick Drift, I've been Power Glover, and he's been Noah Rada. Keep on gaming, baby.
See ya.